was the...
Oh.
Well, I hope we're mature enough to realize Minnesota's a good football team and we got to play well. We've practiced well all week. Didn't have a tremendous amount of emotion, but we did what we had to do. We were precise, and I think we're going to play a good football game today.
The Gophers spread the field. They've got the option, and they've got trick play. So how hard defensively will that be for you today?
Well, I think they are a problem for us because they have very good athletes. Number one is Tutu is an excellent receiver, kick return guy, and the whole bit. And Sauter's been a quarterback there. We played against him a couple of years ago when we played against him. So we realize we've got a tough job. We've got to be alert, got to pay attention to things. We've got to be disciplined and not get careless because they will hurt you with trick plays and big plays.
All right, thank you, Coach, and good luck today.
Well, thank you.
Homecoming 1997 for Penn State. Let's go back to Studio 66.
Patience. It's not a trait many associate with college football, especially today. Freshmen often travel far and away to schools where they can make an immediate impact. And the fifth-year seniors a vanishing breed. But in Happy Valley, there lies the exception. Mike McQueary, hometown boy, Penn State quarterback.
It's almost like a dream come true being able to play in front of the hometown fans and being able to play 5 minutes away from your house. Could be a lot more fun too, you know, if you're successful and you handle the pressure in the right way, then I think it can make for a fun and exciting career that a lot of fellows don't get the chance to have.
Despite speculation that McQueary wasn't good enough to play Penn State football, he's proving everyone wrong. So far this season, he's ranked 7th in the nation in passing. His performance is confirming what he's always thought. He can be the man at Penn State.
But it's nice to see for Mike what he's reaping now, and the publicity that he gets that people recognize that he's a viable football player there at Penn State, and whatever happens, but he's taken advantage of situations in which he has been asked to perform.
There's been some naysayers there, and people who have said, well, you know, it's a political move to get a local kid to go to Penn State and things, but, you know, I just kept on the back of my mind, and it kind of added fuel to the thought.
The fifth-year senior has reached his goal of quarterbacking the hometown team. And now after beating Ohio State, he's won a big game. But there's still a lot left to accomplish when you're the quarterback of the #1 team in the nation.
I'll tell you what, I need a national championship, but you know, I'll be happy just taking one game at a time and you know, trying to play well and put the offense in position to win football games. And I'm sure if we take care of the little things and the big things like the big championship or national title will take care of themselves.
Randy Wright.
Thank you very much, Mike Gleason. It is a picture postcard day. State College, Pennsylvania. Better than 93,000 will be on hand. We mentioned before it is homecoming. Penn State leads the series overall. Matter of fact, their first Big Ten game came against Minnesota back in 1993. The conditions for this afternoon's game, crisp, clear, and cool. 57 degrees, light winds. We're on a beautiful grass field, and the forecast is for sunshine and very few clouds. Glenn Mason, in his first year at Minnesota, directed one of the biggest turnarounds in college football history in 9 seasons at the University of Kansas. And, of course, Joe Paterno, his 32nd season as head coach, his 48th year as a member of the coaching staff here at Penn State, is the nation's leading active coach in terms of victories. Minnesota has played the #1 team in the nation in its football tradition. And take a look at it. The last time, back in 1983 against Nebraska, and their last victory against a #1 ranked team came on October 22nd, 1977 against the Michigan Wolverines.
Got the Wolverines out 16-0 at Old Memorial Stadium.
Minnesota will receive to start the football game. And Travis Forney getting ready to kick it away. A sophomore from Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. And look at the number of touchbacks. This kid has a good arm. Matter of fact, good leg. Probably has a good arm as well. But Tutu Atwell back deep. He's #1 on the bottom of your screen. And also back there is Tyrone Carter. Joe Paterno had a lot of concerns over the kicking game. Forney backed up All-America Brett Conway, who graduated last year, but Forney has come on and done a very good job. Good, strong kick, carrying toward Carter on the far side from the 4. Tyrone Carter. Had an opening out near the 25-yard line. So it'll be first down for Minnesota from there. Justin Kirpakis made the stop for Penn State. The Minnesota Golden Gophers are led by quarterback Corey Sauter, who's a senior. He's been alternating a little bit with Billy Cochran. Cochran will be the quarterback next year, but the senior Sauter gets the start. He holds Minnesota records for touchdown passes, completions, and yardage. And he will get the call behind center to begin the ball game. First down for the Golden Gophers. The football just short of their 25. And Sauter looks to the air. Got a man wide open. That's Haas, the tight end. Alex Haas has a first down out across the 35-yard line. Fairfield in starting lineups for the Golden Gophers. Backs and receivers. Thomas Hamner has been hampered by deep thigh bruise. He started all 11 games last year. He's in the offensive backfield at 102 yards rushing this past season. Tim Saha is the man we're looking at on the offensive line, offensive tackle. First down for the Golden Gophers. And Hamner gets the call. Hamner off the right side of the line. And he's pulled down by the Nittany Lions, who respond quickly on the play. Jim Nelson made the stop. There's the Fairfield in lineups. Defensively, Chris Snyder gets the call up front. He's the leader. 3.5 sacks for Penn State. Jim Nelson, one of the finest linebackers. All three linebackers, though not Maurice Daniels, are Butkus Award candidates, and Sean Lee leads the defensive secondary. The linebacker who's not starting, Brandon Short, today due to injury, he also is a Butkus Award candidate. Quick call, and Hamner gets about 4 yards out to the 40-yard line, where it'll be a third down and 6 coming up. Maurice Daniels was the man who started in the middle in place of Brandon Short, has been bothered by an ankle injury suffered against Ohio State. He suffered the injury during the game, but has come back and played. We may see a little bit of him here this afternoon. But Collins, Short, and Nelson are three of the finest linebackers in the nation, and they all play here at Linebacker U. Third down for Minnesota. Sauter being flushed, throws it away. Matt Cornell with the pressure on the quarterback, and the fifth-year senior throws it out of bounds. Chino Prater had the coverage downfield, and Minnesota brings on the punt unit.
Jerry Sandusky was a little concerned he wasn't getting enough pressure with his front four. He doesn't want to blitz. He needs those guys to play better. That time, good pressure on Sauter forced him to throw the ball away.
Ryan Rindle's back deep. Chris Everly is the deep man for Penn State. Rindle's back to receive the snap from center. Derek Brackley on the snap, and here it is. And Rindles just did get that kick away. And it takes a Minnesota hop inside the 20-yard line, right down the sideline. And the Gophers down it at the 11. So the Nittany Lions will get it for the first time offensively this afternoon. Backed up at their 11-yard line. Penn State is led by fifth-year senior quarterback Mike McQueary, a local product out of State College, Pennsylvania. He's waited his turn behind Kerry Collins and Wally Richardson here at Penn State. And he's put some pretty good numbers on the board this season. First down for the Nittany Lions, the football at their 11-yard line. The slot at the bottom of your screen. Juravicius is the wide man. Curtis Enos going wide to the other side. Gain of about 3, maybe 4 yards in the tackle made by Tyrone Carter. Fairfield in starting lineups. Aaron Harris. He had 96 yards rushing last week and 2 touchdowns. On the offensive line, Phyllis Ostrowski is the senior, fifth-year senior and second-year starter. Second down for Penn State. It's about 7 yards to go. McQueary with that long count. Here comes Aaron Harris trying to pick his way. Jimmy Wyrick supports and makes the stop after a gain of 1 to the 15-yard line. Let's take a look at that Minnesota Golden Gopher defense. Up front, Antoine Richard leads the line with 39 tackles. In the linebacking core, Park Williams, a true freshman in 1994. He suffered a torn ACL in a game against Penn State. And Tyrone Carter in the defensive secondary leads the Gophers in tackles. He's a strong safety who will play very close to the line. Third down for Penn State, 3rd and 6. That's Nastasi at the bottom of your screen. Play action, and McQueary looking for Nastasi. looking for Juravicius rather. Now he's on his own as the Gophers covered pretty well downfield, and the quarterback covered up short of the 20-yard line. Gain of about 3 yards. It's a 4th down for Penn State.
That's been a weakness for this Gopher defense, as they've had teams in 3rd and long, but they've been able to convert. This time, good coverage in the secondary forces McQueary to pull the ball down. You see he's looking out to his right for his favorite receiver. Makes him pull the ball down, come up short of the 1st down.
Pat Pigeon with the punt. It takes a Penn State roll inside the 40-yard line of Minnesota, and the Gophers will start this drive near their 37-yard line. Each team has had an opportunity offensively, and neither team has scratched yet on homecoming in Happy Valley. Postcard afternoon, State College, Pennsylvania. Picture postcard afternoon, State College, Pennsylvania. Minnesota for the 2nd time offensively this afternoon in a scoreless first quarter. Puts it in play, 1st and 10 at the Gopher 37. Sauter to Hamner. Fornattle makes the stop for Penn State. Gain of a couple of yards. To Studio 66, Mike Latham, Big East game in October. 11-0 for the month of October in the Big East Conference for the Hurricanes, and they're on top of the early going. No score here. 2nd down and about 8 yards to go for Minnesota. Hamner trying to go wide. Forced to cut it back inside by the cornerback Anthony King, and a pickup of a few yards out across the 40 to the 41-yard line.
Nice job by Anthony King. You'll see it coming from the right side of your screen, the cornerback number 19. He comes up in a hurry and forces Hamner to cut the ball back in where the pursuit's coming. One thing this Minnesota defense does, take a look at him, number 19. When you can get him running inside of this great pursuit by this Penn State defense, you're not going to get many yards.
Minnesota going on 3rd down and about 6 yards to go. Double tight ends, 1 on each side of the line and 2 wide receivers. That's Leverson in motion. And Sauter looks to the air. Sauter under some pressure comes back over the middle for a 1st down to Atwell, and he's got a whole lot more than that. Ridden down from behind by David Fleischauer. 1st down for the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Sauter was hit hard, but he hung in there and picks up the 1st down into Penn State territory.
Nice job by Corey Sauter sitting in the pocket. It took a while to develop downfield. He averts the 1st attempted sack, and then he steps right into it. Gets picked up by Fornattle. Now watch Tutu Atwell stay with the quarterback. He's not open. He's not open. He works to get open, makes a nice catch, and then as we said in the open, he is so exciting with the ball after he catches it.
13-yard gain to the Penn State 46-yard line for Minnesota. On 1st down, it's Hamner. Little spin move for about 3 yards to the 43-yard line of the Nittany Lions. Mid portion of the defense was there to make the stop. Fornattle in on that stop along with Courtney Brown. Gain of about 3.
Wayne, 1st down is so important for the Gophers because they have questions with their offensive line and their pass protection. And if they can get 3 or 4 yards on every 1st down, mostly running the ball with Thomas Hamner, then they can keep Penn State guessing what's coming on 2nd down. If they don't have that success on 1st down, it's going to be a long day trying to throw the ball.
2nd down. Sauter off play action. Threw it away. Dewar was the intended receiver. He was covered well by Jim Nelson. Back to Studio 66 in Mason. No score here. Beaver Stadium, State College, Pennsylvania. Better than 90,000 on hand here this afternoon. And Minnesota now facing a 3rd down. It's about 7 yards to go. This is the 2nd offensive possession for the Golden Gophers. Sauter, the senior from Hutchinson, Minnesota, has started 28 straight games. Past 3 years at a timeout taken by the Golden Gophers. They weren't quite sure on what play they had called. So without further ado, let's step away for a moment. Glenn Mason will talk it over with his senior quarterback. No score at Penn State. Part of the homecoming crowd here in Happy Valley. Minnesota facing a 3rd down. It is 3rd down and about 7 yards to go for the Golden Gophers. Sauter, 2 of 4 passing for the game, 1 of 2 on 3rd downs. Penn State coming out of blitz. Sauter goes over the top for Nelson, and the pass overthrown incomplete inside the 10-yard line of Penn State. Anthony King had the coverage downfield. Penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage, and it might be for Penn State jumping into the neutral zone.
I agree, Wayne. It looked like Penn State tried to jump, coming with an aggressive rush, tried to get a little bit of a head start. Sauter doing a nice job seeing that, trying to make the big play downfield to Nelson.
So now, Randy, they're going to pick up 5 yards on this for the Golden Gophers. And this changes the play call.
Offside on the defense. 5 yards. Repeat. 3rd down.
3rd and 2 is a whole lot more makeable than 3rd and 7 against this Penn State defense.
Take a look on the left side of your screen there. You see the jump by Penn State. 3rd and 2. This is where Minnesota this year running the option. This is a situation where that play has been very effective for them.
The football is inside the Penn State 40-yard line of the 38. Double tight ends on the line. Lone wide receiver is Nelson. Greg Nelson to the bottom of your screen. Little play action, and Sauter rolls the pocket. Sauter going to have to take it himself, but he's roped down by Maurice Daniels, the middle linebacker, starting in place of Brandon Short.
What a nice job by the secondary of Penn State. There was nobody open downfield, and Maurice Daniels does a nice job of just mirroring Corey Sauter. Good play action pass. He's got plenty of time. There's just nobody open. Maurice makes the hit behind the line, of scrimmage, and wraps that quarterback, a big guy, 6'5", wraps him up around the leg so he doesn't break a tackle.
And a loss of 4. Ryan Rindles has placed 6 down inside the 20, including 1 today. And Rindles gets good leverage into this punt. Fair catch signal is made by Everly. He's bumped into, and a penalty marker down. The kick is recovered by Minnesota at the 10-yard line. Another flag down. The Big Ten official is Jim Kemmerling. And in a moment, he'll tell us what his call is, but a fair catch signal was made. You must give the receiver room to make the catch. Interference with the punt receiver.
Interference with the opportunity to receive the kick. There was contact. 15 yards. 1st down.
And Randy, pretty clear-cut call.
Absolutely. The kick was shorter than Greg Nelson, number 9, thought as he's looking at the ball, and Everly for Penn State is coming up to make the catch. I just think Greg Nelson, number 9 there, lost track of where that ball was.
So instead of starting inside their 20, Penn State will start out at the 29 with the 1st down of this drive. Concho Brown, the tight end, in motion. Running backs are split. Joe Juravicius in motion to the top of your screen. McQueary, lots of time. McQuarrie's got a 1st down. To the midfield marker in front of the Minnesota bench. Mike McQueary on a 21-yard scamper. Keith Dimmy forced him out of bounds.
McQueary has done such a nice job of throwing the ball this year. People forget how well he moves in the pocket, and then once he breaks out here, he tucks that ball away, puts a nice move right there instead of going out of bounds, picks up another 15, 20 yards. Does a nice job making a positive play out of what could have been a negative play.
So Penn State, no score, 7:42 to go in this 1st quarter. And off to Enos, and he gets short yardage. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. No gain. Mid-portion of that Minnesota defense rose to the occasion on that play. And it will be a 2nd down for Penn State. Matter of fact, he may have lost a half yard.
Well, Minnesota coming into this game wanted to put 8, sometimes 9 men on the line of scrimmage, take Curtis Enos and the running game away from Penn State and make them throw the ball. So far, Penn State has had some success running, but it hasn't been with Enos.
I believe
when McQuarrie's been there.
Glenn Mason said at all costs we want to stop the run. And the fullback Aaron Harris is nabbed for a loss. Back inside Penn State territory, the 49, loss of 1. Antoine Richard made the stop. Let's get down to Jim Barton.
Here's the numbers have been the problems for the Gophers. Since 1986, they have given up a ton of points. And the biggest problem in 117 games since about 11 years ago, in half of those games, the opponents have scored more than 30 points per game. And that is a problem. Glenn Mason says, first of all, let's stop the run, and then let's try to stop the pass, Wayne.
3rd and 12, and McQuarrie comes up passing. And it is intercepted. Tyrone Carter on the interception to the 33-yard line of Minnesota. Only the third, make it the second interception of the season for Mike McQueary. And Minnesota will take over, but there's a penalty marker down to the offensive backfield.
I think we're going to have a holding.
Ball, hands to the face on the offense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Left tackle for Penn State. Take a look at the left side of the screen. You'll see it up top, number 60, putting the hands to the face. McQueary steps up in the pocket nicely and then just makes a poor decision on throwing this ball. Could have been intercepted right there, but Carter comes over, does a nice job keeping his eyes on it. Carter, the strong safety, maybe the best defensive back there for Minnesota, playing very well this year.
So the Gopher offense back on the field. Still scoreless in this first quarter. Just under 6.5 minutes to go first quarter. And Minnesota takes over just beyond its 33-yard line. Thomas Hamner. The middle linebacker, Maurice Daniels, a youngster out of Alexandria, Virginia, getting a start, as I mentioned, in place of the injured Brandon Short, and makes the stop behind the line of scrimmage, a loss of a half yard.
Minnesota been throwing on first down, this time trying to run, just nobody there. Maurice Daniels, number 52, steps up, makes a nice solid hit in the backfield. Once again, wrapping up. You don't see a lot of missed tackles on this Penn State defense. They're not big, but they are sure tackles.
Second down, a little bit more than 10 yards to go. And Sauter straight back. And it's dropped by the tight end, Alex Haas. Haas made his first collegiate receptions last week. He had 4 catches for 57 yards. He's a big target, a sophomore out of St. Peter, Minnesota. But that time had the pass in his hands and could not hang on. There is a look at the numbers. All of that compiled last week.
And until last week, Minnesota had not had a reception by a tight end. Today, they're going to need Haas and his backup, Troy Dewar, to step forward because they're going to have to get the tight ends involved in the shorter passing game for Minnesota to be successful.
Third down and about 11 yards to go. This is exactly the spot that Glenn Mason had hoped his offense would not be in. 3rd and 10 or more. Sauter sets up a middle screen to the fullback, Justin Hall, and he is short of the first down near the 38-yard line. And again, Daniels, the inside linebacker, made the stop. Back to Studio 66. Mike Gleason, what do you have for us? Much, Mike. Syracuse on the roll in the early going up in the dome. No score right here. Minnesota in punt formation. Ryan Rindle's getting set to kick it away. Gets a low snap. Does get the kick away. A beautiful spiral. And Chris Everly makes the catch. Everly dances a bit. Gets out across the 25. Brought down just short of the 30-yard line. Rackley, the deep snapper, made the stop. No score on a picture postcard afternoon at Penn State. Barber back at Beaver Stadium in State College, Pennsylvania. First down for the Nittany Lions. Football just short of their 30 at the 29. Mike McQueary, the 5th-year senior. As a kid growing up, he wanted to go to Notre Dame. Ended up here at Penn State. McQueary going deep for chalky fields, and the pass well overthrown and incomplete. Pretty good coverage downfield provided by Craig Scruggs.
Very good coverage that time by Craig Scruggs. And that time, they knew they were going to get man-to-man coverage because, as we said earlier, Minnesota wants to bring 8, 9 guys up to the line of scrimmage, take the run away, bump the corners on the whiteouts, and just try and stay with them as long as you can. That time, Scruggs, nice job of covering field.
Penn State with a slot to the bottom of your screen. Enos is the tailback. Aaron Harris, the fullback. Penn State has not gotten the running game on track yet. And McQueary rolls just a bit. He's coming over the middle. Going for Nastasi. Diving ground. It's broken up, incomplete. Penalty marker down. Craig Scruggs had the coverage. Nastasi shaken up on the play near the 30-yard line. It might be pass interference, or that would be the suspected call in this case. When Nastasi still shaken up, he was not 100% coming into the ball game. He's had a sore knee. Pass interference, the call against Minnesota.
Looked like pretty good coverage. Again, Penn State going
on the defense, 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
Looked like pretty good coverage by Scruggs. As you see, Nastasi coming from the right side of your screen. McQueary does a nice thing, and he throws the ball to the left. He throws it away from the defender, so he lets the receiver run to it. You saw Scruggs reach out with that right hand and pull that jersey. Good call by the official. Take another look at this. This ball really could have been caught. Nastasi had it right as he went down to the ground.
Well, I'll tell you something. Mike McQueary has a nice touch on his deep throws, Randy, and as Fran Ganter, the offensive coordinator, told us, he's not afraid to throw downfield, not afraid to take chances. Joe Nastasi is a veteran receiver here and has been one of his favorite targets. Joe Juravicius, of course, is the #1 target in the Penn State offense right now. And Nastasi, as we mentioned, who's been bothered by a knee injury of late, he may not come back today, depending on the severity of the latest bruise. Penn State on a first down off the penalty. The football near the 44-yard line. In Lion territory, McQueary hit from behind, coughs up the football, and it's still up for grabs. It looks like Minnesota's got it. Second turnover of the day. Minnesota recovers it. Lamanzer Williams with the sack, and I believe it was Ben Mesera who made the recovery. Ben Mesera, the linebacker, came up with it, a true freshman out of Wisconsin. But it was Williams who was untouched, Randy. Watch him come from the top of your screen.
Comes through, just beats Ryan Fagan, the left tackle, and does a nice job of swatting the ball loose. He doesn't go after just the sack. He goes after the fumble. Right there, Penn State had a chance to get on it. Once the ball's on the ground, so many defensive players see where that ball is. Minnesota did a nice job recovering. Again, they get a turnover. Part of getting a turnover is offensively you have to do something with it. Last time after the interception, Minnesota went 3 and out. This time with much better field position, they need to get something on the board.
Glenn Mason said, if you'll need some help from Penn State, we'll need some turnovers, but we better be poised once we do get those opportunities to cash in. Sauter looked like he wanted a run option, but nobody blocked Matt Fornato, and he makes the stop about 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. To Studio 66, tough to beat in the Big East in October, aren't they? Second down and 14 for Minnesota. Hamner's the lone setback. Sauter right to the air. His checkoff is to Hamner in the flat. Gets by the middle linebacker and picks up yardage inside the 35, down to the 33-yard line. Made a nice move around Maurice Daniels. Picks up about 7 on the play. Courtney Brown recovered from the defensive line to make the tackle.
Nice job by Corey Sauter, not trying to force something downfield. Even though it was 2nd and long, he does a nice job of reading it, letting it develop, and then he waits before he throws it out to Hamner. But now by waiting, it creates some room between Hamner and the defense, so it gives him time to put this move on right there to pick up another 5 or 6 yards.
3rd and 7. Sauter calling the play for the line. And now he needs a timeout. Play clock was running down. And the Gophers forced to take their 2nd timeout of this first half, and Sauter over to the sidelines.
You know, Corey Sauter came into this season, he's got 1 timeout. You see Minnesota using their 2nd one. He came into this season knowing they were going to run the option. He lost 15 pounds, put on smaller pads, got rid of his knee braces. He's ready for the option.
Let's go back to Mike Gleason. Mike, yards to go. Fran Ganter on the left of your screen in the glasses, and Joe Paterno, of course, on the right. Franny, the offensive coordinator. Joe has some good exchanges with his coaches. They will argue some points back and forth.
They say he loves to argue. Doesn't matter about what. It's just arguing.
GTE Academic All-America Team Member Spotlight, as selected by the College Sports Information Directors of America. And Matt Schlesman, Minnesota, a swimmer, 3.76 in mechanical engineering. 2-time NCAA All-America. Congratulations to Matt. No score. Later stages, first quarter. And Corey Sauter looking at another 3rd down situation. This time 3rd and 7.
Maybe 4 down territory from the 32 if they don't make it here.
Sauter trying to run option. He was tripped up by Luke Gleim, his offensive lineman. He actually tripped over Gleim's ankle. And Minnesota now facing a 4th down brings the punting unit on.
Well, one of the ways you can stop the option is to get penetration inside the tackles. You see here, Gleim pulls too deep, trips up Sauter. The other time that we've seen Minnesota try to run the option, Fornato came through with early penetration.
Not the punting unit, but the field goal unit. 52-yard field goal attempt coming up for Adam Bailey. His long is 52 against Iowa State earlier this year. Out of the hole of Brindles. Here's the kick for the first points of the game, and it is good. Adam Bailey, a junior from Burnsville, Minnesota, with a 52-yard field goal, has put the Gophers on the board first.
Very important, Wayne, that Minnesota got something on the board after the second turnover. This one much deeper in Penn State territory. Penn State's defense doesn't give up the first down, but at least Minnesota got something positive out of this.
Well, this is one happy young man. Watch this. Pretty good effort.
52-yarder. His only real miss had been a 56-yarder. He had one blocked earlier, and he's showing some of the excitement that his teammates jump on also. And when you're up 3-0 against the #1 team in the country, you ought to be excited.
Let's go down to Jim Barber. What's the update on Joe Nastasi, Jim?
Right now, Nastasi is working up and down on the knee, hopping up and down, trying to get some movement to it. He was in a lot of pain moments ago, Wayne and Randy. Right now wants to try to get back into the game if he can, but his status is questionable. By the way, speaking of the Minnesota kicker, he missed badly in pregame warmups, and a lot of the Penn State fans were taunting him. He has made up for it so far, Wayne and Randy, by answering them with a bomb.
Now Adams will boot it away. Adam Bailey, I should say. Twin safeties back deep for Penn State. Everly and Fields are back deep. A kickoff by Bailey. Everly makes the catch a yard deep. Everly, good move to the 20. Everly to the 30. Everly brought down across the 35-yard line. Adam Bailey, the kicker, made the tackle. Penn State will start first down across its 35.
Take a look at Chris Everly here. Does a nice job of following his blockers, puts on a couple of quick moves. You see the hole open up, and then you just see a couple of missed tackles there by the Minnesota coverage team. Everly may be the unsung hero of this Penn State team. He backs up Curtis Enis. Whenever he's called upon, though, has responded very well.
Well, let's see if the three-pointer by Minnesota has woken up the Nittany Lions here in Happy Valley. McQueary, Aaron Harris. Harris running hard, upended by Craig Scruggs out near the 44-yard line, a gain of about 5. Wayne Larrabee, along with Randy Wright and Jim Barber. Beaver Stadium, State College, Pennsylvania, on a picture postcard afternoon for college football. The #1 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions trailing in the early going to the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Minnesota. And a second down coming up. Gain of 6 on the previous play, 2nd and 4. Juravicius, the lone wide receiver. Curtis Enis out across the 45, denied the 50-yard line, but did get enough for the first down to the 49. Keith Dimley made the stop for Minnesota.
One thing Joe Paterno told us in the opening was that he was a little concerned. He hoped that his team had enough respect for Minnesota. Well, one way to make sure your team is ready to play is you come out, you run the football, you play a little smash mouth, and if your team's not ready, that's one way to wake them up. And we've seen Penn State these 2 plays after Minnesota went ahead running the football.
Under 1:30 to go in this first quarter. Penn State with a first down just short of the 50. Scioli on the wing goes in motion. This is Enis. Enis got a first down up to the 40-yard line. Wyrick made the stop at the Minnesota 40, gain of 11 for Curtis Enis, who last week 211 yards rushing, a 9.2-yard average against Ohio State.
One of the problems for the Gopher defense, missed tackles. That's why they've given up so many big plays. Look at the big hole, but right there, a missed tackle. Wyrick has to drag him down from behind, picks up another 6 or 7 yards.
Enis 18 yards on 4 carries here this afternoon. Penn State goes to Enis once again. He had to wait for his blocking and then was nabbed from behind. The Gophers got good pursuit along that defensive front that time. Williams, the defensive lineman. There is Billy Cochran. Cochran is more of an option-style quarterback, and he will play some here today for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And they feel by next year he'll be an accomplished passing quarterback as well as an option capability.
Yeah, that's a good point, Wayne. He does have better running ability than Sauter, but he throws the ball, has a very strong arm also.
2nd and 11 for Penn State, and Enis around the end. Enis short of the first down inside the 35 near the 34-yard line. Keith Dimmy, who's been busy in the deep secondary of the Golden Gophers, made the stop, gain of 7, and it's a 3rd down for Penn State.
There's no doubt who Penn State feels most comfortable with. It's right there, number 39. When you get behind, you need to run the ball. That's who's going to get it.
First quarter comes to a close. The Golden Gophers have capitalized on a couple of Penn State turnovers to engineer a 3-0 lead at the end of one at Beaver Stadium. Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber back at State College, Pennsylvania. 2 Penn State turnovers, an interception and a fumble. And the Gophers took advantage for only 3 points, but that is enough for the lead. You look at the numbers and the rushing yardage, Penn State getting much of that 48 yards in this current drive. But so far, Mike McQueary, who struggled at times last week against Ohio State, the number 1 ranked pass efficiency defense in the nation, has not gotten off on the right foot yet here today. The interception by Tyrone Carter. McQueary was sacked, fumbled, and the fumble recovered by Ben Mesera led to the field goal. Penn State facing a 3rd and 4. McQueary on the rollout. In the pass undershot, Joe Juravicius underneath the coverage of Craig Scruggs. It's 4th down for Penn State. Let's go to Mike Gleason. What is in the Big Ten by the good team so far today?
Contagious.
I guess so. 4th down, and the field goal unit is on. This will be a 51-yard field goal attempt for Travis Forney. His long is 36. And here's the kick. This one is not going to make it. Off to the right and just a bit short. So the Minnesota Golden Gophers have contained the Penn State Nittany Lions to this point, and the Gophers, by virtue of a 52-yard field goal lead, 3-0. We're in Penn State, State College, Pennsylvania. The lead starting to turn here in mid-October. Turnovers have turned this ball game in favor of Minnesota at the moment. Take a look at it. This is the interception earlier in the first quarter. Carter cutting in front of the receiver to make the interception. And then watch LaManza Williams from behind. Mike McQueary coughs it up. And that ball eventually gets to Ben Mesera, the freshman who recovers for Minnesota. And Joe Paterno's number 1 ranked Nittany Lions are trailing as we get underway in the second quarter. 3-0 Minnesota.
Well, Penn State came in wanting to run the ball. Both of those turnovers as a result of the passing game. Even though one was a fumble, it was on a quarterback dropping back, getting hit from behind.
The slot at the top of your screen. Sauter going that way. He's got Tutu Atwell, nabbed by Chino Prater right away. A gain of yardage out near the 41-yard line. Pickup of about 8.
Nice strong arm throw by Sauter, getting that ball out to Atwell quickly, and that's what you want to do when you've got a receiver who can do as much after the catch. Get it to him quickly, let him put a move on, break a tackle. Who knows what can happen?
Let him make the play in the flat, right?
You've got to let him at least make one guy miss.
Second down, and it's about 2 yards to go. Hamner, first down and more. Thomas Hamner to the Penn State 45-yard line. Sean Lee, the free safety, made the stop. 13-yard gain.
You take a look at this from the high angle. Minnesota does a nice job with 3 wideouts spreading that defense, and then you give Hamner the ball deep in the backfield and let him have some room. He can put a nice move on down there. That's what Minnesota wanted to do. Spread them out, make Penn State cover everybody, and open some holes inside.
That's Leverson at the top of your screen, Nelson at the bottom, and Sauter running option. A keeper all the way down to the 40-yard line, a gain of about 5 yards. Jim Nelson, the outside linebacker, on the stop for Penn State. Let's get back to Studio 66 and Mike Gleason. Talk about a letdown, how LSU will rebound from that big game last week. Pass is tipped and falls incomplete. Courtney Brown, I believe, was the man who got a piece of the football. To the sidelines, Jim Barber.
Thank you, Wayne. David Gibbs and his Minnesota defense terrific here in the first quarter. Gibbs is just 29 years old. He's the youngest defensive coordinator in Division I AA. And how young he is, 29? Well, Jerry Sandusky has been coaching 30 years at Penn State as part of the defensive coordinator and other positions there. So Gibbs, well, he wasn't even born when Jerry first got started. But today, his defense has been reborn, playing very well. And mixing things up, I think that's been the key so far, Wayne.
It is third down at about 5. Sauter to Hamner. He's got running room. First down and more. Inside the 25 of Penn State to the 22-yard line. Derek Fox made the stop for the Nittany Lions. gain of 18 yards, and the Gophers on a determined drive.
Same play Minnesota had success earlier in this drive, this time to the right side. Spread it out, let the defensive end come up, and as Hamner, you cut up right inside of him. Nice job seeing that hole and hitting it quickly.
Hubbard and Leverson at the top of your screen. Sauter checking off at the line. Sauter running option to Hamner, who cuts it back to the 16-yard line. The ball popped loose, but the whistle had sounded. The play was over before the fumble. Courtney Brown, the defensive end, roped him down. It is a gain of 5 yards.
Nice job of Penn State defense seeing this and converging on it. Sauter makes the quick pitch, and from the right side of your screen, 27 Macklin comes up, forces Hamner back to the pursuit. Penn State gang tackles. Nice job.
9 carries, 47 yards for Hamner.
Glenn Mason wants his team to run the option, but make no mistake, they are not an option team. They've been very effective inside the 20-yard line, and that's where the option can be very effective.
10 touchdowns inside the red zone. Hamner on a straight dive, got by one defender and is very close to the first down near the 11-yard line. Tripped up in the mid-portion of the defense. Jim Nelson.
This is where the students are at,
down. Let's get down to the sidelines. Jim Barber, what do you have?
Wayne, the students down here will make the most noise. This is the most difficult part of the stadium to move the football against. And in fact, quarterback and running backs had to have a personal conversation moments ago just to make sure they're on the same page. Obviously, this crowd will try to help Penn State.
3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Minnesota bidding to add to its lead over top-ranked Penn State. First down, Sauter with a pump fake going to the end zone, overshot everybody out of play. Atwell was well covered by Chino Prater, the far corner of the end zone.
This is the kind of pass play that it's either wide open or you throw the ball away. You see Prater comes up, puts a little bump cover. He doesn't go for the fake on the quick slant. When Sauter sees that, he just throws the ball out of bounds.
A wise decision by the fifth-year quarterback, fifth-year senior.
Jim talked earlier about the students making a lot of noise. I think they're kind of shocked right now Minnesota's having this kind of success.
Well, Minnesota's drive is kind of taking the crowd out of the game a little bit here. 2nd and 10. Sauter running option, and this is not much of an option play. Sauter actually bumped into Hall, his fullback. If we were in basketball, we'd be talking about spacing on that play. He didn't have much spacing. Jim Nelson brought him down, gain of 2 yards to the 9.
Not a surprise that Corey Sauter is the quarterback in here running the option. He's not the best quarterback to run the option, but what you want are good decisions down here when you're at the 9-yard line. He's got more experience. He's capable of doing it, so that's not a surprise he's still in here.
3rd and 8, the football at the 9-yard line of Penn State. Leverson, the slot man, on the top of your screen. Nelson's at the bottom. Sauter running option. And short of the first down near the 7-yard line, gain of a couple of yards. Courtney Brown, Jim Nelson on the stop for the Penn State Nittany Lions. So the Gophers bring on the field goal unit, a 2-yard gain.
When you run the option to the short side of the field, you either have to pitch it right away or commit yourself to keep it. Right there, there's no pitch. So even though there wasn't much of a hole for Sauter to run through, he's committed to keeping that ball because the sideline's too close.
So coming up on 10 minutes to go in this first half. This will be a 23-yard field goal attempt. A veritable chip shot it should be for Adam Bailey, who hit a 52-yarder to put Minnesota on the board. Brian Rindle's the holder. Rackley with the snap right on the money. And the kick to the uprights, and it is good. So 10:20 to go this first half. And the Minnesota Golden Gophers on a couple of field goals by Adam Bailey have taken a 6-0 lead over top-ranked Penn State. Penn State was going to come out sharp following that big victory over Ohio State a week ago. I would have to say Joe Paterno would not be too happy with his team trailing 6-0 late or middle part of the second quarter. 11-play, 60-yard drive. And the key here, Randy, is the 4:31 time of possession by Minnesota.
And Minnesota got some big plays on the ground. Penn State told us they wanted to take away the throw. They wanted to take away the option. They did that. But what hurt them was Thomas Hamner running up the middle.
Minnesota has the lead in total yardage as well. Adam Bailey, whose 2 field goals, has the Gophers on top, kicking it away. Kind of a line drive kick. Watson on the return. Gets out across the 25-yard line. Crawford Jordan makes the stop. So the youngster Kenny Watson getting the call on the kickoff return. And it's first down for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Mike McQueary has struggled here today in this first half. We're almost 5 minutes into the second quarter.
One thing Joe Paterno told us is his quarterback, like his entire team, not really motional, not a lot of up, not a lot of down.
And they run the reverse to Shuffy Fields. McQueary blocking in front. Fields high-stepping to the 40. Shuffy Fields out of play. The 46-yard line of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Park Williams forced him out of play. Biggest play of the day for Penn State, 28 yards.
What a nice call by Randy Ganner, knowing that they've been working Curtis Enos and a team that's fired up after going up 6-0. Get them going one way. Look at all the blockers out there in front of Shuffy Fields. And he, a former running back, does a nice job of using those blockers and maximizing his yardage.
So it is first down, the football to the 46-yard line of Minnesota. There's Fran Gander, offensive coordinator under Joe Paterno. Long count by McQueary allowed Richard to get back on sides. Enos up the middle, and everything he's gotten has been hard to come by. Gain of 1.5 yards. Richard made the stop. Back to Studio 66. Mike Lee
To be upset with that.
And again, there is Harris down on the play. Oh, it was a good hit to the midsection, but they're checking over. It looks like his right ankle or knee. And Aaron Harris shaken up. As we mentioned, he had an outstanding ball game last week against Ohio State with 96 yards rushing. Hey, fans, to get inside the huddle of your favorite Big Ten team, go online at www.big10.org for all the football and conference news from around the Big Ten.
Wayne, that last play, you saw the leaders of each team make a play. Mike McQueary fighting off the sack, throwing it over, and then you see Carter coming up, the leader of this defense, making the hit and causing the fumble that time. And once again, look at all the Gophers going after it. How they didn't come up with the ball. Really got to be frustrating to Glenn Mason.
Eric Cole, it appeared, got the ball back for Penn State. I'll tell you one thing, these Golden Gophers have come here to hit. We've seen some hits out there today.
Well, it's going to be a challenge for them right now as they have played very well defensively. They haven't given up many big plays. After the Fields reversed and then after that play, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. Do they fall back into the, well, we've given up a lot of big plays, or are they going to respond and come up and make a big play themselves?
This does not look good. Aaron Harris needing help to get off the field. So first down for the Nittany Lions. Football to the 34-yard line of Minnesota, and here comes Curtis Enos. Williams arrived on the scene after a gain of about 3 yards. Today's Big Ten game is brought to you by GTE, official telecommunications consultant to the NCAA and a Big Ten corporate partner.
Minnesota told us they were going to take the run away at all costs, and so far they've done a pretty decent job. The only successful plays for Penn State have been the reverse and the screen. Little trickery in there.
Second down, about 7. Tikas Pettigrew is at the bottom of your screen, the wide receiver. Enos started to the right, cut it back toward the middle, and boy, they've had 8 men in the box all day, Randy, and Curtis Enos ain't getting much. Keith Dimmy that time, the safety, got over to make the stop, gain of 1 yard.
You see your strong safety come up and make a lot of hits at or around the line of scrimmage. You don't see your free safety. That tells you the commitment that Minnesota is making. And when you hit him 2 or 3 times and you can clean up with your free, you're not going to get a lot of yards. You're not going to get a lot of yards running the ball.
Getting some hats on the ball, aren't you there?
They're not missing many tackles so far.
Third down at about 6. McQueary, a long count at the line again. Enos, they wanted to run reverse, it looked like, but the Gophers had it snuck down. Enos on his own to get the first down, and he does have the first down to the 23-yard line. Tyrone Carter made the stop. Randy, it looked like they wanted to set up a reverse to the short side of the field that time, but the Gophers got great penetration on the line. Let's see if we can pick it up here.
I agree with you. Coming from the right side of your screen, the reverse is set up, and when Enos sees it's not going to be there, he just turns into a ball carrier, and as big as he is, 233 yards, he knows what he needs, takes it upon himself to pick up that first down.
That was the true freshman Ben Mazara who got into the offensive backfield and foiled the reverse, but Enos is a great back, and he got the first down on a gain of about 8 yards. From the 22, and a quick handoff to the fullback, Anthony Cleary, and he is a tank. Cleary at 6'1", 251 pounds from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Dimmy made the stop on the play along with Lamanzer Williams. Jim Barber, what do you have for us?
Aaron Harris has the knee problems, as you had suspected, Wayne and Randy, just moments ago. In fact, it's his right knee that they're working on. He's in some pain. He has had to clutch the hands and grip the hands of a number of Penn State assistants. That's how much pain he is in. As you know, Joe Nastasi, knee problems as well. Not a good day injury-wise for Penn State so far.
Enos on the roll to the sidelines, and the Gophers strung it out very well. Loss of 2 yards on that 2nd down and 4 call. Park Williams, the middle linebacker, who's playing well here today. Co-captain for the Golden Gophers, got over to make the stop. Yes, the injuries beginning to pile up a bit for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Well, Wayne, you talk about a rhythm between a quarterback and a receiver. There's also that kind of rhythm between a tailback and a fullback, especially Aaron Harris, because he's the main blocker for Curtis Enos, and you get to run behind that guy. You learn how he blocks, and you read his blocks a little better. So with him being out, that may affect Enos.
Everly in that backfield with McQueary. Juravicius in motion, and they roll the pocket on the bootleg. And Mike McQueary takes it. He's short of the first down, but inside the 20 near the 17-yard line of Minnesota. Park Williams made the stop, gain of about 3. So this will leave a 4th down coming up now for Penn State.
You have to have a good block by your fullback. Take a look at number 23 right there, cutting down LeManzer Williams. When you get his arms down, that allows the quarterback to come out, look downfield. Receiver's not there, then he has a chance of running for it. So that's the key block for that play to have any chance of succeeding.
Travis Forney will try on the field goal of 35 yards. Off the right hash mark. And here's the kick. And he puts Penn State on the board. 5:25 to go, first half. The Nittany Lions finally score here in their 78th homecoming. Penn State field goal at 6-3 Gophers late in this first half. And let's go to the sidelines and Jim Barber.
Wayne, speaking of field goals, traditionally Penn State's had a great kicking game, and perhaps you may wonder why. Well, Joe Paterno told us he simply stays away from kickers. He says, you know, some coaches are crazy, but all kickers are crazy. And besides, what do you tell them, Wayne, when you miss one?
Yeah, maybe Joe figures that a hands-off policy is best for them and him.
Well, he's had a kicker here in Brett Conway the last several years that didn't miss very many, so he doesn't have much experience going up and telling a kicker anything if he misses one.
Travis Forney on the kickoff. Carter about 5 yards deep, stays there with it, and Minnesota will take over from its 20-yard line. The Penn State scoring drive. 10 plays, covered 56 yards, took better than 4 minutes and 47 seconds off the clock. Forney with officially a 34-yard field goal.
Wayne, for a team that has scored so many points on big plays, to take 10 plays over 4 minutes, almost 5, and come away the key with just a field goal, that's a boost for this Minnesota defense.
Hamner is the tailback, Hall the big fullback for Minnesota on a first down. Cochran is the quarterback, and he's running option. And boy, Penn State did a great job on the option last week against Ohio State, and they snuff out this play, a loss of 4. Go back to Studio 66. Mike Lee City next week to see Tavian Banks and company.
You know, you see it there, you see it here. When you turn the ball over, it's tough to recover, keep the other team off the board. 2nd and long situation for Cochran. Hamner, quick handoff. Boy, I tell you, he's got some room, and he exploits a big hole off the left side of the offensive line. Hamner out across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Derek Fox in the deep secondary makes the stop. 21-yard gain to a first down, Minnesota. Boy, when you can run through a hole this big, it allows you to get your momentum going full speed. That allows you to run by some of the defensive backs. Nobody, until a secondary player, gets a hand on him.
My goodness, Moses didn't have that much room going through the Red Sea.
That's one way to get yourself out from the shadows of your own goalpost.
Cochran, quick slant, 2-2 Atwell, trying to spin away from David Macklin, almost fumbled the football, but is out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Macklin, the principal defender, sophomore out of Newport News, and there is 2-2 Atwell, 2nd in the Big Ten in total yardage per game. Gain of 5 on that play.
Take a look at this. Macklin's got pretty good coverage, but talk about a confident quarterback. He throws this ball in there on a short route. When Macklin is that close to him, you got to have a lot of confidence in your receiver.
2nd down, Minnesota. Cochran running option. Hamner got the first down the sideline. Just short of the 50-yard line, they'll mark it to the Minnesota 49. Sean Lee, the safety, forced him out, gain of 7.
Wayne, teams that run the option and also throw the ball very well put a lot of pressure on your defensive ends, because when you throw, you need an upfield pass rush. When you run the option, you need them to go east and west. So if they're guessing what's coming, you don't get much of a pass rush, and when they guess wrong, you can get by them on the option. So that combination is very rare, but yet puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the defense.
Coming up on 3.5 minutes to go first half, Minnesota leading 6-3 over top-ranked Penn State. They mark it to the 49 of Penn State, not Minnesota. And Cochran on the quick handoff to Hamner. Hamner driving forward for a gain of about 3 yards to the 46. Jim Nelson made the stop. Arc-Lite, 7-0. Second down for Minnesota. Cochran on the option, cuts it back. Good decision, got inside of Derek Fox and is covered up near the 41-yard line. Maurice Daniels filled on the play. When you spread out Penn State, if you've got a wide receiver and you have the threat of a passing game, Randy, isn't it much easier to run this option play underneath?
Sure, because it doesn't get congested. You generally only have 1 or 2 players to read, as you saw Cochran that time, as Collins, the outside linebacker, goes upfield, spread out. There's a lot more room in between the players. It's easier to see a hole and make a cut.
You get the spacing we were talking about earlier.
Very much. The other thing that Glenn Mason has done is he has sold his quarterback. When you run the option, 4 or 5 yards is a big play.
Minnesota trying to convert on third down for the 3rd time today. Cochran to the air. Quick throw at well. First down at the Nittany Lions 30-yard line. Chino Prater on the stop. And a gain of 11.
Nice job by Cochran reading one receiver and then leading Atwell. Atwell does a good job of making the cut and then coming back to the ball this time. Goes up and catches it in his pads, even though it's a high pass. But when he knows he only needs 2 yards, the first thing you need to do, make sure you catch the ball.
Secure the football. First down, football just inside the 31 of Penn State. Inside of 2 minutes to go in this first half. Been a very solid first half for Minnesota. Cochran needs a timeout. That's Minnesota's 3rd and final timeout of the first half. But the upstart Golden Gophers on the road leading top-ranked Penn State 6-3 with 1:49 to go in this first half.
Nice job by Cochran calling the timeout, knowing the 25-second clock was running down. His players were misaligned. Leverson had come in, didn't know where he was supposed to line up. So when you've got some momentum, you've got a first down here on the 30-yard line. Even though it's your last timeout, go ahead and take it, settle things down, keep this momentum going.
Well, I'll tell you something. Glenn Mason had a story for us last night. He said he was in Minneapolis earlier this week, and a fan came up to him and said, "Hey, Coach, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes." And he said, Glenn said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, Coach, you're going to Penn State, and you're going to get your brains beat in." And Glenn said, "Well, what are you doing this weekend?" And the guy said, "Well, you know, I'd like to play golf, but my wife would probably have to clean out the garage." And Glenn said, "You'd rather be doing that than I'm going to Penn State. I'm going to play the #1 team in the nation in an idyllic setting. 93,000 will be on hand. And you're going to be in the garage cleaning out the garage." He said, I don't think there's any question I'd rather be where I'm going rather than cleaning the garage.
And he said that was a great story. And he said as the gentleman came up to him as he was leaving, he got the impression that he'd rather switch places with Glenn Mason, too. And Glenn Mason has done a nice job of that approach. He has sold his players on the same thing. This is a great opportunity. This is what college football is. Let's take advantage of it.
They have come in here, Randy, and they have not been in awe of this situation whatsoever. First down, Cochran. 2 of 2 in the passing department. Looking to the air here, and now pulls it down. And Cochran has some running room. Chased by Nelson, but Nelson ropes him down inside the 20 of the 18-yard line. It's a first down on a gain of about 12 yards.
When you vacate the backfield, no backs back there. Generally, your linebackers vacate too, and if your quarterback breaks through the initial pass rush, it can turn into a big play. But that tells you a little bit about Jim Nelson, number 44 for Penn State. Maybe the best of all the linebackers. His abilities, he chased Cochran down from behind.
Glenn Mason orchestrating on the Minnesota sidelines. Meanwhile, his young quarterback, Billy Cochran, has his team at the line of scrimmage with a quick handoff to Hamner. Everything up the middle, Randy, has been very quick in terms of the running game. And it's almost like they want to hit Penn State unawares with a quick hitter. And Hamner brought down that time by Courtney Brown, but a gain of about 4.
That's a credit to Hamner and the offensive line, because Hamner hits this with a lot of confidence that there's going to be a hole there. And most times today, there has been. So with that momentum going, he's at least getting 3 or 4 yards.
Second down, a little bit less than 7 yards to go. Cochran running option, and this time nowhere to go with it. Lost a yard or two back outside the 15-yard line. Mac Morrison turned that play around. Coming up, our National Car Rental halftime report. We'll have Big Ten scores and highlights. Iowa, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio State. Plus, we'll take a look at Michigan State's Cedric Irvin. It's all coming up halftime with Mike Gleason at Studio 66.
Minnesota with no timeouts. The clock is running. Third down. Got to make sure they get the first down and get out of bounds.
Cockrum on the slant, drop by Nelson. Underneath the coverage that time of Chino Prater. He may have knocked it away. Plus, away from the play, Tutu Atwell is down near the 2-yard line.
Nice job by Chino Prater, the defensive back, breaking this up. A nice pass. Ball could have been caught. In fact, should have been caught. But Prater comes in, makes the hit, knocks the ball out. Big play, because that would have given Minnesota the first down, which would have stopped the clock. Now it's going to force Minnesota to try the field goal.
Away from the play, Tutu Atwell was shaken up, and this was on the other side of the field. He comes limping off now. There he is right there. He was shaken up and apparently all right. Hopefully he'll be back in the ball game in the second half. Now, this will be a 33-yard field goal attempt. Adam Bailey, who's hit 2 field goals here today. And the kick is on its way, and he is 3 for 3. 16 seconds to go first half. Minnesota on a trio of field goals by Adam Bailey leads by 6. Right, Jim Barber's down on our sidelines. Good to have you with us on a picture postcard day at State College, Pennsylvania. Minnesota is leading by the score of 9-3, and Adam Bailey getting set to kick it away to the Nittany Lions. 16 seconds to go, kind of a squib kick, and takes a high hop. This is Watson. And Watson out across the 30-yard line and is met by a host of white-clad Golden Gophers. Take a look at the scoring drive, and it was an impressive one, although it ended in a field goal. 65 yards, well placed. Time of possession, 5:02, and that's very important for Minnesota in this first half. Phillips Petroleum, maker of super clean gasolines and Trop Arctic Motor Oil, a proud sponsor of Big Ten football. Team up with Phillips 66 this fall to ensure your car runs at its best. Phillips 66, the performance company.
Minnesota holding the ball for over 5 minutes, keeps that Penn State offense off the field. It also gives their defense a chance to rest.
So the Nittany Lions, who have not been their sharpest, up to the line of scrimmage, and McQueary looking to make a big play. Going for Shafi Fields, and it's broken up. Wyrick was there along with Crawford Jordan. 2 seconds left. One more snap for Penn State.
If you're a Minnesota defensive back, you're always taught, don't ever let anybody get behind you. You're always as deep as their deepest threat. That time Minnesota did a nice job, had a couple of players deep. Even if Fields had caught the ball, Carter was there to make a tackle.
Mike McQueary, we mentioned, as a good deep touch, and Penn State has been an explosive offense this season. Got a slot at the top of the screen, but they're going to run things out here on a straight dive up the middle, and time winds down in this first half of play. So the carry by Chris Everly, and the final tackle of the half made by Lamanzer Williams. It has been an impressive first half for Minnesota. They lead the top-ranked Nittany Lions by 6. Let's go to Studio 66 and Mike Gleason. Right back at State College, Pennsylvania. Jim Barber on our sidelines. Let's get to the Phillips 66 first half highlights for you, and you'll see some aggressive play by the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Watch this. Top of your screen, Lamanzer Williams comes free. Mike McQueary, unsuspecting, coughs up the football. Ben Mesra, a freshman, able to recover for Minnesota, number 97 now. Talk about hits. Minnesota calls a good play right here. Wyrick blitzing in from the bottom of your screen. He's got the quarterback wrapped up on McQueary, a 6'5" and strong. Gets it away to the fullback, and rumbling for about 11 to 12 yards, Aaron Harris. But watch this. Tyrone Carter backed him up, fumbles the football. Harris is down. Penn State gets the ball back, but we haven't seen the fullback Aaron Harris since. Press down first half stats. Take a look at that. Rushing yardage, 104 for Minnesota, led by Thomas Hamner with 90 yards. Only 10 passing yards on 1 completion for Penn State in the first half.
10 passing yards. You see the 2 turnovers for Penn State. Minnesota 18, almost 18 and a half minutes of ball control, and that resulted in 9 points. Not only are they keeping Penn State off the field, they're keeping the ball on the ground and ending it with points.
So the Golden Gophers getting set to kick it away to start the second half. Adam Bailey, whose 3 field goals are the difference in this game. Good leverage into this kick. Everly from the goal line. Everly looking for room, not a lot there. Gets out across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Mark Cross made the stop. Earlier, Jim Barber caught up with Kansas coach Glenn Mason.
Last week, the Gophers gave up 59 points to the Boilermakers, and they just treated the #1 team of the nation. Can you explain that, Glenn?
Well, the game's not over yet. In our game, it's not like the Indy 500. They don't pay you lap money, so we got a long way to go. I'm really proud of my players. They've played real tough, real hard, but Penn State's an awful good football team, and let's face it, Ohio State had a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter and still came back on. We have a lot of football we played there.
How do you beat Penn State and shock the world?
Well, I guess you do the same things you did the first half and hope that Penn State makes a couple more mistakes.
All right, thank you, Glenn. Appreciate you joining us. Glenn Mason and hungry and perhaps upset-minded Minnesota leading up the break.
Thank you very much, Jim. 5-yard gain by Curtis Enis to start the second half for Minnesota. Look at the leaders. Enis had 35 yards in that first half altogether. Hamner, big first half to lead Minnesota with 90 yards rushing. Second down and 5 for McQueary and company at the Penn State 26. Enis to the outside this time, and again the Gophers, who have had 8 in the box all day. Lots of traffic. Sean Hoffman, the outside linebacker, redshirt freshman out of Fargo, North Dakota, made the stop. First half possessions, as you can see, it took all the way down to that 5th possession for Penn State to score.
If you're Minnesota, you need to play with the same intensity. Penn State, they're going to get some big plays, but if you keep the intensity for another 30 minutes, you're always going to be able to stay in this ballgame. So far, Minnesota's shown that these first 2 plays.
Third down. Enis in motion to the top of your screen. McQueary going that way. Got Enis for the first down. Warwick makes the stop near the 34-yard line. So Penn State moves the chains on this, the initial drive of the second half, a gain of 5.
Take a look, knowing you only need 2 yards for the first down. You look downfield, not there. Get the ball quickly to Enis, who does a nice job of picking up the first down.
And, you know, Franny Gander was telling us, the offensive coordinator of Penn State, in the second half when McQueary was struggling against Ohio State, McQuarrie would come to the sideline and say to Franny Gander, just give me something I can complete. Let me get on track. That's the kind of pass you talk about.
It got him going last week. We'll see if it does it again here today.
Good play action. McQuarrie going deep. Juravicius leaping. Got the first down to the 37-yard line of Minnesota. Craig Scruggs made the stop. Biggest pass play of the afternoon by far for Penn State.
Well, when you're struggling, you go to your best 2 offensive players. You saw Enis on the 3rd down. Here, a long pass, just a deep post. Juravicius does a nice job of getting open. And watch him go up and catch that ball at its highest point. Knowing Scruggs is only 5'9", catch it high before Scruggs gets a chance to jump up and knock it down.
28-yard pass play in the Nittany Lions on the drive to open the second half. Trailing by 6. Scioli on the wing comes in motion to the bottom of your screen. And Enis has a hole to run through here and picks up about 4 or 5 yards on the play for Penn State. Tyrone Carter, the strong safety, in support for the Golden Gophers. Penn State's 3 points in the first half will represent their lowest scoring total for a half since being shut out in the first half at Ohio State last year.
Wayne, if you're Minnesota, you know Penn State has so much power that they're going to score some points. You just have to convince your defense that that's okay. Stay in there, play hard. Our offense has been moving the ball. If that happens, don't give up. We'll come back.
Second down for Penn State. Juravicius in motion. Enis stopped once. Able to find an extra yard or 2 down to the 30, a gain of about 3 yards. Antoine Richard on the stop. Jim Barber, what's going on down to the sideline?
Wayne, on the injury update situation, you guessed right on Aaron Harris, not likely to return because of a knee sprain, which is pretty severe. In the case of Joe Nastasi, he too has a knee sprain. That's a little slighter than Aaron's, and possibly he will be back.
Jim, you're right. That was a guess.
Well, Nastasi,
but looking at that hit, I'll tell you.
could have been much worse. And Nastasi has been banged up coming in, so if he re-injured that, I would be very surprised if he does come back. Well, plays a major part if he does.
Double tight ends, 3rd and 3. Tikas Pettigrew at the top of your screen, and here comes McQueary rolling to the bottom. Mike McQueary chased out of bounds, and the Golden Gophers have thwarted Penn State once again on 3rd down. LeManzer Williams, a senior out of Ypsilanti, Michigan, chased him out of bounds.
Nice job by Jimmy Warwick, number 30, covering the tight end. As McQueary is rolling out, he's looking for his tight end. Good coverage by the secondary right there. You just see number 30, who was covered skillfully the whole way, gave McQueary nobody to throw the ball to.
So let's see what Penn State tries here. They have brought the punt unit onto the field. Pat Pigeon, see if they try something here. A low snap to Pigeon, and he just tries to pooch it. Gets it high into the air. The Nittany Lions are down there to cover, and they're going to down this one inside the 5-yard line. So Minnesota will be backed up to the shadow of the goal post in their own end. Penn State still trailing by 6. Stadium. Penn State has backed up Minnesota to the 4-yard line, and back in the student section is where the Gophers are, and they're going to hear it from the Penn State fans. First down, quick handoff. Hamner gets the call, keeps the pile moving forward across the 5 to the 6-yard line, gain of a couple of yards. Let's take a look at the first half possessions for the Golden Gophers. Field goals on each of their last 3, and those were some impressive drives. 11 plays, 60 yards, 12 plays, 65 yards. There is no question that Minnesota absorbed the first offensive threat of Penn State, giving up a big play on the first drive of the second half, but thwarted the Nittany Lions. There's no question the Gophers came to play today. Are they here to stay? Maybe this offensive drive will tell us.
Well, that's the next question needs to be answered. Defense did the job. Offensively, got to get at least 1 or 2 first downs.
Second down at about 7, and Hamner around the end. Good cutback, and Hamner's got a first down. Out across the 15 to the 16-yard line. Thomas Hamner on a gain of 9.
Hamner again, as you see him to the right side of your screen. Look at the hole. What a nice cut that time. And then he just puts a good move right there and runs through an attempted arm tackle by Collins.
Hamner over 100 yards rushing now in the early going of this 3rd quarter, and that's kind of taken the crowd out of this game a little bit.
Well, Penn State's defense had a chance when they were backed up to shut them down. Minnesota with 2 tight ends looking to run the ball. The defense couldn't hold them back there.
And again, Coach Paterno playing for field position by pinning Minnesota deep. Here comes Sauter off play action. Sauter being chased. And out of bounds for a gain of about a yard near the 19-yard line. Yard or 2 on the gain. Snyder forced him out on the near side. Corey Sauter is 6'5" and 214, and for Glenn Mason's ball club, this senior quarterback certainly has some athletic ability. 86 yards rushing on 77 rushing attempts coming into the ball game, but you have to understand on the collegiate level, sacks are subtracted from the rushing total.
Well, Wayne, they call him the best quarterback you've never heard of, and he physically has got all the tools, one of the best throwing quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and Mason has turned him into a pretty effective runner also.
Gain of a yard, 2nd and 9. Hamner has a hole again, but is cut down on the play. Back to Studio 66, Mike Ryan Company proving a point up in the big house. Minnesota facing 3rd and 5. And they hold up the play, illegal procedure, the call, or a false start by Minnesota. Appears to be the preliminary indication. At least that's what you saw, right?
That's why I think it was the right tight end and the 2 tight end sets that seemed to jump a little early.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5 yards, 3rd down.
Jim Barber, what do you have?
Kevin Sumlin is the quarterback's coach for Minnesota. Had a lengthy conversation with his quarterback, Corey Sauter, as he was warming up to start the second half. Told Sauter, protect the football and keep doing what you've been doing. In fact, Sumlin stayed with Sauter for the other 5 minutes. I think he was as fired up as Corey was to start the second half, Wayne.
3rd down for Sauter and company. Now 3rd and almost 10 yards to go. 3rd and 9. Leverson's in the slot at the top of your screen. They go to Hamner. They spread the Penn State defense, but Hamner runs into Aaron Collins. And down it goes across the 20, short of the first down.
Good call that time by Glenn Mason as Minnesota offense. Spread that defense. You've had a lot of success with Hamner. Plus, it's a pretty low-risk play. He stands a good chance of breaking one. If not, you've at least got the ball out past the 20-yard line. Let your punter boot it down.
And I think that's the key, Randy, a low-risk play. In this situation, you don't want to turn over deep in your own territory. Twin safeties are back deep for Penn State to receive this punt from Ryan Rindles. Rindles gets good leverage into this kick. Fair catch signal is made, and the catch completed to the Penn State 40-yard line by Chris Everly. Third quarter, Happy Valley. They're not very happy here. The Gophers leading by 6. The top-ranked team in the nation in the third period of play as Penn State takes over for the second time in the quarter on offense. Football just short of the Nittany Lions 40-yard line. And Curtis Enos got a block off the right side from McQueary, but Tyrone Carter comes up from the strong safety position to make the stop on the play. Carter among the leaders in tackles in the Big Ten. Gain of a yard or 2 on the play. There is a comparison to the running backs. Thomas Hamner making a good statement for Minnesota. And Curtis Enos has run into a lot of traffic whenever he's touched the football.
Well, when you look at the fact he's only carried the ball 16 times in a game where they wanted to come in, give him the ball 25 or 30 times, and run the ball effectively, that speaks volumes for the job Minnesota's defense is doing.
Tikas Pettigrew, the lone wide receiver in the game, at the top of your screen. Double tight end for Penn State. Trying to combat Minnesota loading up the box. And let's see what we've got here. Penalty markers hold up the play. The officials hold up the play.
I think what we've got is a lot of frustration on that Penn State offense.
Dead ball, delay of game, on the offense. 5 yards, second down.
All right, so Penn State backed up here. Second down. About 15 yards to go. Yep, some frustration. There's no doubt about that. But let's mention this. While this may not be Penn State's best effort or most fired up effort, the Minnesota Golden Gophers have come out here and really played well. They have played within themselves, and they've played hard. Kevin Thompson is the new quarterback for the Penn State Nittany Lions, in place of Mike McQueary. And Thompson, a little swing pass to Curtis Enos in the flat. And Enos draws Jimmy Weidrich, the cornerback, along with Ben Meseret, the linebacker, on the stop. A gain of a yard.
Tell you, when you are Joe Paterno, certain things you don't do as a quarterback when you play for Joe Paterno, and when you haven't had a sparkling game up to this point, and you have a delay of game penalty, doesn't take long for Paterno to pull Mike McQueary out, which he did, put Kevin Thompson in there. And he, a coach that is known for his loyalty, quick hook there.
Kevin Thompson led Damascus High School to repeat Maryland Class AA state title. Thompson going downfield, and the pass off the mark. It's headed on the play for Joe Juravicius. Let's get back to the Studio 66 with Mike Gleason. A low snap, and Pat Pigeon gets his punt away. A fair catch signal made, and the catch completed by Tutu Atwell. Minnesota has withstood 2 offensive possessions by Penn State in the second half, and the Gophers will take over at their 31. Leading or trailing Minnesota by 6, and watch this. Brandon Palmer on the snap to Pat Pigeon. A low snap. Pigeon makes that shoestring grab and just did get the kick away. Joe Paterno has got to work the sidelines now. He's got the jacket off. He's in the shirt sleeves and trying to get his team fired up and back into this ball game. They are down by 6. And Minnesota certainly has carried the battle thus far. Hamner met at the line of scrimmage and yanked down to the play. Jim Nelson, the linebacker, got over to make the stop. We talked of Nelson. Brandon Short is not playing today, injured, and Aaron Collins, 3 Butkus Award candidates. Loss of 1.
Well, this is the way you get back into the game if you're Penn State. You have to stop the run first. Nice job by Nelson breaking through there and hitting Hamner in the backfield and then wrapping him up. Once you stop the run, you force Minnesota to throw the ball. Then you can try and put pressure on and create some mistakes and some turnovers.
Sauter on second down. Sauter looking to make a play. King makes the stop at the line of scrimmage. Anthony King, no gain. And Minnesota facing third down. Jim Barber?
Wayne, one of the reasons Penn State is so successful, besides talent, they always have open dialogue between coaches and players. Well, perhaps too much open dialogue on the sidelines. When McQueary got the hook, he went right up to the coach and wanted to know why. In fact, he wanted to go back in the game, and Joe said, not so fast. McQueary wasn't happy. And as a result, we'll see when he does get back into the game.
Well, you're right, Jim. There's a lot of give and take between coach and player in this Penn State program. Third down at about 11 now. Sauter looking to pick it up. Goes over the top. Oh, a beautiful throw to Atwell for the first down at the Penn State 40-yard line. Great coverage by Shino Prater, but what a throw by Sauter to Tutu Atwell, 31 yards.
Wayne, I don't care what league you play in, you will not see a better throw than that. And sometimes you can do everything defensively, and you can't stop it. Little pump fake, and he just puts it beautifully out there. And Atwell does a nice job of creating some space right at the last minute. Fades to the sideline, opens that space. Good coverage by Prater. Huge play for this Gopher offense.
First down to the 40-yard line of Penn State. Hamner to the short side of the field, down to the 35-yard line. Thomas Hamner has run hard all afternoon. Gain of 5. Sean Lee, the safety, on the stop for the Nittany Lions.
Glenn Mason told us he had some real concerns with his offensive line. They were banged up. They didn't even know who was going to start until they saw how they warmed up. He can't be any happier than he is right now with the way they have played. They have come off. They fired off the ball. They protected Sauter. They protected Cochran. They need to continue to play with this intensity. They have done just an excellent job.
Sauter calling the play at the line, and timeout is called on the field. And I believe it's Penn State that called that timeout.
I think Penn State wasn't quite sure what defense to be in when Minnesota came up with a spread-out offense, and I believe you're right. That was called by Penn State, which for Minnesota, having trouble in the first half having to call the timeouts, this time just kind of shows you Joe Paterno right there. His offense has been a little out of sync, having the delay game. Now the defense is out of sync.
Take a look at the Amoco Big Ten leaders, brought to you by Amoco. You expect more from a leader. Tavian Banks continues to lead the way for Iowa in the rushing department. Billy Dicken having a great year at Purdue. And Brian Alford, his favorite target. Boy, they hooked up on some big plays against these same Minnesota Golden Gophers last week in the Metrodome.
Well, as a coach, you never know how your team is going to respond. Last week, the Gopher defense gave up 5 scoring plays of over 20 yards. Today, they have come out with a new and different attitude. And haven't missed many tackles, have played hard right from the very beginning.
So Sauter back to the huddle. He's got the play from the sideline. It is a second down and about 5 yards to go. The football at the Penn State 35-yard line. Minnesota is leading in this third period. Almost 11 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Hamner, no surprise, gets the call for about 2 yards. Maybe a little less than that. Courtney Brown on the stop, along with David Fleischauer, the interior tackle. It'll be third down coming up in the nose of the football, just inside the 34, gain of 2.
Minnesota had this situation earlier in the game. They chose to run it on third down and went ahead and kicked the long field goal. Here it's third and a little longer. Interesting to see if they keep it on the ground.
They ran on third down in their own end. Now let's see if they open it up a little bit in this end of the field. If they try to... Straight I formation. Justin Hall is the fullback. Hamner is the tailback. Hamner fakes the handoff to Atwell. Penn State well defense. They stayed at home. Jason Collins and Maurice Daniels make the play, no gain.
Your success running the ball against Penn State more times than not is going to be north and south. When you try and outrun them east and west, they run too well. Very seldom do you make big plays or even pick up positive yards. They tried to fake them out with the fake reverse here. Penn State not going for it. Though Atwell, that was covered too. Nice job by the pursuit and by the stay-at-home people.
Adam Bailey on a 50-yard field goal attempt. A high snap, they got it down, and the kick to the uprights. It is good! Adam Bailey with field goals of 52, 23, 32, and now 50 yards. Has Minnesota on top of Joe Paterno's Penn State Nittany Lions 12-3. To Studio 66, Mike Gleason. Bailey ties his school record with 4 field goals in a game.
And look at the reaction we saw earlier. Early excitement. Will it last throughout the game? This field goal, just as excited as he was, if not more so, as are the rest of his teammates. If they can continue this intensity throughout the game, which they have, that's been the key. What a good feeling for Adam Bailey, tying his own record and his school record.
Joe Paterno and company have their hands full with this band of Gophers. A little over 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Bailey set to boot it away. Everly from the 4. Everly down the sideline to about the 28-yard line where Mark Cross forced him out of play. Let's go to the studio. Studio 66. Mike, the Minnesota drive. 36 yards, 7 plays, a little over 3 minutes. Penn State with Mike McQueary back at quarterback. On a first down at the Nittany Lions 27. McQueary being blitzed, gets it away nicely to Enos, breaks a tackle across the 40 out to the 41-yard line. Hoffman, first to the ball, made the stop. It is a gain of 14 to a Penn State first down. And another one of those passes you usually call to get a quarterback on track.
Absolutely. Last week we were told McQueary went into a little bit of a slump. It took him a while to come out, but once he did, late in the game, he responded very well. Coach Paterno pulls him out in the middle of a series. Now he puts him back in there and see if that shakes him up and gets him back where they need him to be.
Joe Juravicius at the bottom of your screen. Receiver at the top of your screen is Shawnee Field. Enos is the tailback. He fumbles the football on the exchange. Got it back, and it's still up for grabs. Minnesota says they've got it. This would be the third turnover of the day for Penn State, if indeed that's the case. The Gophers say they've got it. No indication from the officials, and now it's Minnesota football.
There's a flag down on the field thrown by the line judge right in front of Minnesota's bench.
Antoine Richard made the fumble recovery. That flag must have been thrown real late, Randy, but we'll wait for the indication.
Illegal formation on the offense. 6 men in the backfield. On the line, excuse me. Penalty is declined. First down wide.
These are the kind of mistakes that you don't see Penn State make. They have 6 men on the line of scrimmage. The series before, they had the delay game. This is just a bad handoff and a bad connection between Enos and McQueary. It looked like the ball hit him a little high in his shoulder pads, and when it hit him high like that, he didn't have a chance to put his arms on it and secure the ball.
Didn't really put it in the breadbasket, did he?
It's the job as the quarterback to find the basket. The lineman, the running back is looking at the hole. The quarterback is looking at the back. His job is to give him the ball.
Slaughter, 2-2 Atwell. Inside the Penn State 30-yard line near the 27. Jason Collins, the hero back, made the stop for Penn State. First down for the Golden Gophers of Minnesota as we head into the final seconds or final minutes of this third quarter.
Just a quick hitter play. Get the ball to Atwell as soon as you can. See the separation here? He makes a little move there, picks up another 6 or 7 yards. When you get down by the 25, 30-yard line, each yard is so important, so hard to get. 6 or 7 yards is a big play.
15-yard gain. Hamner, nice hole. Hamner to the 15, down near the 11-yard line. Well executed running play up front by Minnesota, and Collins again in the secondary made the stop. 16-yard gain, and boy, the Big Uglies up front are blowing them out.
Take a look at this hole. The Big Uglies is right. He doesn't even get a hand laid on him until right there. The strong safety, Jason Collins, is the first guy to lay a hand on him, and you can see with every successful running play, more and more confidence is gained by that offensive line.
And Randy, the offensive line, a major concern due to injury for Minnesota going into this game. They have performed admirably here today. Hamner going wide. Denied at the 10-yard line. Stopped right there. Plenty of coverage. Jason Collins, Aaron Collins was in on that play, along with Anthony King supporting from the corner. Gain of a couple. Take a listen to this hit. Ooh, that was Anthony King. Popped in there pretty hard.
You know, Anthony King comes in there, but it's hard to say who took the biggest brunt of that hit, because Hamner, running as hard as he is, delivers a lot of blows.
Nittany Lions have an injured player down on the field, and it's Brandon Short who came in and played here today. He did not start the ball game. He's been shaken up this season. Take a look again at the hit.
Nice job by Keene coming up there and supporting from his corner position, lowering his shoulder, and nice hit. Take a look at it again. You see Hamner. He's got such a quick move. I mean, right here, he gets that break and gets that burst going. Nice play.
Brandon Short trying to play injured today. He's had an ankle injury against Ohio State. Did not start the ball game here today. Came out trying to play in the second half.
That tells you how Penn State views this game right now. He was their starting linebacker. They did not want to play him. He did not start the game, but because of the way the game is unfolded, they are taking this very seriously at this point. And well, they should. They put him out there not 100%.
Second down, and it's about 8 yards to go. Hamner, the lone back. Leverson is in the slot on the top of your screen. Hamner picking his way. Short yardage on that particular run. Down near the 7-yard line. And Jim Nelson made the stop on the play. Fornattle was also there. Gain of about 3. Now, Randy, we've seen Minnesota get very, very conservative once they get deep in the Penn State territory on some of their drives here. I wonder if Sauter on this third down call might try to take a pop for it.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to get Atwell out in the flat or let him work one-on-one. They need to get a touchdown out here. Up by 9 points. Touchdown is vital because it takes it over that 2-touchdown cushion where Penn State could come back. So they're going to take a timeout here, talk it over. I think they want to put their full effort into their best play because I think they realize the importance of getting this touchdown.
Jim Barber, what's going on down on the field?
Wayne, equally as important, if Minnesota is able to get a touchdown, they may be faced with the opportunity to go for 2 points and make it 20-3. We're getting ahead of ourselves, of course. If it turns out they have to settle for a field goal, Adam Bailey will be shooting for a personal record. He had 4 against Ball State. Today, he could have 5. And even more surprising, I suppose, Wayne and Randy, is the fact that his long range, 2 of 50 yards or better today, he had never kicked one before in his own history at Minnesota.
Let's take a look at our NTB Students of the Game, brought to you by NTB, National Tire and Battery, where everything you want, nothing you expect. Corey Sauter of Minnesota, the quarterback. Ministers of Education, 3.38 GPA, not bad numbers. And how about Aaron Collins? Aaron Collins, part of that long line of Collins brothers who have played here at Penn State, elementary education. Mike McQueary, the state college native, struggled a bit last week with Ohio State, and that was understandable. The Buckeyes have the best pass defense in the nation. This week, he has not looked sharp at all for a second consecutive week, and at one point of the second half was pulled by head coach Joe Paterno for a couple of plays. Minnesota facing a big third down here. 3rd and 5 at the 7-yard line of the top-ranked Nittany Lions. Sauter. Leverson. Just a bit too tall for Luke Leverson, the 6-foot, 177-pound sophomore from Miami.
Nice play by Sauter, though. He saw the blitz coming. He saw he had man-to-man coverage. So you wait until Leverson passes by the defender, and then you try and get him the ball. Coming right from the left-hand side of your screen, puts the ball where only his guy can catch it, or it goes incomplete. So you don't take the field goal opportunity away from your kicker.
But at least you gave yourself a chance to get the ball to the end zone.
You gave yourself a chance. You gave Penn State no chance.
24-yard field goal attempt. Adam Bailey. And the kick is blocked. A huge play for Penn State. Nothing turns momentum quicker than something like this.
Looked like a good snap, and it looked like the kick just came out maybe a little bit low. Boy, did Penn State get up there high in order to block that. Take a look. We've seen Bailey jubilant after some of his kicks. This time knows he should have got that ball a little bit higher. Puts his defense right back on the field.
Final 30 seconds in the third quarter. McQueary goes to the air. And it's juggled and intercepted. Ben Mesra, the freshman, comes over with Anthony Clary. How to go in and out of his hands. Minnesota is back in business at the Penn here.
Take a look at this replay. It's going to be coming right at you here. McQueary throws the ball a little behind Cleary. He has to stop and reach back, and as he does, doesn't get a firm grip on the ball, knocks it up in the air. Then you take a look at McQueary, knowing he threw a bad pass. You've got to get the ball in front of a receiver in the flat. You have to hit him in stride.
4 turnovers by Penn State here today. Minnesota at the 20-yard line of the Nittany Lions. Hamner hit in the backfield. Jim Nelson, the All-America linebacker. Dixon for a loss of 2. Glenn Mason, as I related earlier in the first half today, said last night, he told us, we need some help from Penn State to win this football game. He's gotten help from Penn State. The other thing Mason made, and a good point he made, was not only do we need help, but once we get that help, we better be poised to take advantage of it. It's been field goals for the first 3 quarters, but those field goals have Minnesota on top, leading Penn State, the top-ranked team in the nation, 12-3 as we head to the 4th quarter in Happy Valley. On hand, Beaver Stadium, State College, Pennsylvania. The top-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions are trailing the Minnesota Golden Gophers 12-3, heading into the 4th period of play. Wayne Larrabee along with Randy Wright and Jim Barber. Have we seen the best the Gophers that Glenn Mason have to offer? Well, look at what they've done in the 4th quarter of their game thus far.
62 points in the 4th quarter. They get this ball into the end zone, go up by maybe up to 19 or 20. Puts a lot of pressure on that Penn State offense.
Sauter with the play action to Hamner, and Leverson, did he come down in play? Apparently he got 1 foot down inbounds to the 16-yard line. It's a gain of 4. Luke Leverson.
What a dangerous pass by Sauter, and a nice job of Leverson keeping his foot inbounds, throwing this ball off balance all the way across the field. Nice job by Leverson knowing where he was on the field and getting that foot down. Now it's 3rd and 6 versus 3rd and 13.
Make it a gain of 6, not 4 on that play. And the Minnesota Golden Gophers, led by senior Corey Sauter, to the line of scrimmage. Atwell and Leverson at the top of your screen. Hamner, short of the 15-yard line, no gain. David Fleischauer, the defensive tackle, made the stop. Glenn Mason will try to cash in with another field goal here.
This is a running play that has worked very well for Minnesota through 3 quarters. This time Penn State, expecting it to be this play by formation, does a nice job of getting Hamner in the backfield.
This would set a school record for number of field goals in a game if Adam Bailey is able to connect. 33-yard field goal attempt. He's got it underway, and it is good. 5 field goals by Adam Bailey, a new single-game Minnesota record. And the Golden Gophers extend their advantage to 15-3 in the first minute of the 4th quarter. Back at Beaver Stadium, Minnesota on top 15-3, and Adam Bailey kicking it away. Kind of a line drive kick that bounds across the 15. Taken by Watson. Watson across the 30-yard line out to the 32. Let's go back to Studio 66. Mike Gleason, what's going on up there in that big house? Right here, Penn State will have to come from behind in the 4th quarter for the 2nd week in a row. They trail 15-3 and have it first down to the 33-yard line, Nittany Lions territory. Chaffee fields on the reverse. They fake it. Lamanzer Williams was held and taken down to the play. Penalty coming up on Penn State. McQueary is upended by Jimmy Wyrick after a gain of 1 to the 34-yard line. It looked like a takedown on that play, Randy, in the offensive backfield. Boy, Lamanzer Williams has played big in this ball game today, hasn't he?
He has played very big. Probably the best defensive player for the Gophers, and he has played outstanding, both in pass rush and against the run.
Illegal block in the back by the offense. 10 yards, bottom of the pile. Repeat, first down.
So, Wayne, you take a look at this replay here. Coming from the top left of your screen, Lamanzer Williams beats his man, and then as he has McQueary cornered there, block just comes from the back. Joe Paterno told us, before I care what kind of quarterback you are. I want to know what kind of leader you are. And we're going to find out with Mike McQueary what kind of leader he is here in the fourth quarter.
So the football back up to the 13-yard line. 1st and 30 for Penn State. McQueary on the roll. And he throws it out of bounds into the Penn State bench. Boy, the Gophers have done a wonderful job defensively. They had all the options downfield pretty well covered. And Penn State facing a 2nd and long.
Well, what we've seen is we expected Minnesota to have to maximum protect because of the Penn State pass rush. So you only release 2 or 3 receivers. That time, because Minnesota's pass rush has been so good, Penn State only released 2 receivers downfield, flooding them both to the right side of the screen. When they were both covered, McQueary had no option but to throw it away.
Single tight end formation now. Chalky Fields at the bottom of your screen. Nastasi at the top, and they go with Curtis Enis. Enis cutting it back. Nice run by Curtis Enis out across the 15 to about the 17-yard line. Looked to be a gain of 4. Park Williams, the middle linebacker, made the stop for Minnesota. 3rd down and long coming up.
Well, when you have a penalty on your first play, you have to throw the ball away on your second play. You need to get something going. That's what Penn State's trying to do right here. Simple little sweep, give the ball to Enis, yet there's not much room for him to make a play. Nice job gang tackling by the Gopher defense.
McQueary 4 of 10 overall. Penn State just 2 of 8 on 3rd down conversion. And they are 3rd and long, 3rd and 26. McQueary with the rush on, and Lamanza Williams makes the sack. Back near the 10-yard line. It is a loss of about 7 yards, and a 4th down, Penn State.
When we talked about Penn State keeping extra people in to protect McQueary, this time you had Enis, the tailback, stay in to try and help block. Williams, take a look on the right side of your screen. You see Enis 39 staying in there to help block, yet he doesn't even pick up Williams. Williams goes right over him and makes the sack. What a nice play.
2nd sack of the day for Lamanza Williams, among the leaders in the Big Ten in sacks. A low snap again to Pat Pigeon and a beautiful booming punt. 2-2 Atwell all the way back to the 28. Muffed it and able to recover at the 29-yard line of Minnesota. Scary Adams in coverage for Penn State. Gophers take over, trying to protect a 15-3 lead. Pat Pigeon gets another low snap from Brandon Palmer. Watch it again, but Pigeon able to recover, and he takes it off the top of the grass and gets off a 62-yarder. And Tutu Atwell had designs of returning this ball, but bobbled it. Was able to recover. Minnesota will start at the 29-yard line. Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber at Beaver Stadium. The State College, Pennsylvania. 5th-year senior quarterback Corey Sauter is going all the way here in the second half from Minnesota, and Thomas Hamner has been the workhorse. Hamner with another good run off the right side of the offensive line to the 41-yard line on a gain of 12. David Fleischauer made the stop from the defensive line of Penn State.
Well, this kid is running so hard, you're not going to bring him down with an arm tackle. We saw a couple of defenders that time just reach out, try and grab a hold of his jersey or his leg. He just picks those legs up, keeps running through them.
Hamner hampered by a thigh bruise earlier this year. He has been plagued by fumbleitis in his career, but here today, no indication of either malady whatsoever. Hamner has been very fine. Sauter, play action under pressure, tries to dump it off to Leverson and does. Nicely done, and Leverson escapes out of bounds beyond the reach of Aaron Collins at the 47-yard line to the far side. Courtney Brown to the pass rush pressure for Penn State, along with David Fleischauer.
What a nice job by Corey Sauter. Watch him as he makes this fake. He wants to roll out, but he can't because of the outside pressure, so he backs up, buys a little extra time. Then he's got a strong enough arm to get the ball out to Leverson.
And Randy,
nice play.
That's a tough throw, isn't it, for a quarterback, because your momentum is going the opposite way thereabouts, and it's tough to come across your body with that ball in that situation.
It's very tough, especially when you planned on going to your left, and now you have to back up.
2nd down and about 3 off the gain of 7. Sauter changing the play, and meanwhile, the tight end, Troy Dewar, moved prematurely. A false start on Minnesota, and that'll back him up.
Looked like Minnesota was going on a quick count, and as Sauter went to change the play, Dewar thought it was a snap count and just jumped.
Dead ball, simulating the start of the snap on the offense, 5 yards, 2nd down.
You know, we've seen Sauter several times here today, Randy, wave his hand, see like this right here. Now, is he just changing the play type of thing? Is that what it's all about?
There's a hand signal that he's giving the receivers whether to run one route or the other, and he's letting them know what he sees. and that's a communication that his receivers pick up. But we saw also the left tackle move there.
2nd and 8. Aaron Collins in a blitz position for Penn State. And here he comes. The slant to Atwell, a little bit high and behind the intended receiver. David Macklin had the coverage on 2-2. So it becomes 3rd down and 8.
David Macklin there may be the most talented of the cornerbacks. Sheeno Prater and Anthony King both start. David Macklin comes in and plays a lot. And so he's a sophomore playing behind Prater, the senior. They've been very happy with the way Macklin has played this year.
Opening 4 minutes, 4th quarter. Minnesota playing on the lead at top-ranked Penn State. 3rd and 8. Sauter going deep for Atwell. Pass overthrown. It's 4th down, Minnesota.
Nice coverage by Macklin that time. Sauter with an all-or-nothing effort that time, and Atwell could not get by Macklin, and Macklin did a nice job of screening Atwell off so that Atwell couldn't come back inside, make an attempt to catch that ball.
So the Gophers forced to punt. Ryan Rindles is on to do the honors. Rindles averaging almost 43 yards a punt this season, and here today, just over 40 yards. Everly back deep. And Rindles gets away a high boot. Fair catch signal is made and completed by the Nittany Lions. They will start their next drive at the 25-yard line in their own territory, trailing the Gophers 15-3. 11:30 to go in the football game, and will they look to number 39 once again as they did a week ago? Curtis Enos literally picked this team up on his shoulders and carried them to victory. Mike McQueary is the quarterback. He has struggled here today. Let's see if he goes to his running back. First down for Penn State, and here is Enos. Enos plays off Levander Williams, and Williams now makes this stop across the 30-yard line. A gain of about 6, maybe 7 yards. Let's get back to Studio 66 and Mike, please. Well, Mike, here's what I talked about. Curtis Enos in that offensive backfield. Got 8 yards on the first play from scrimmage. And they come back with Anthony Cleary, and Cleary gets the first down as he counters the right side of the line with a block from Enos. So a gain of about 3 yards on that play. Hart Williams made the stop for Minnesota. To get inside the huddle of your favorite Big Ten team, go online at www.big10.org for all the football and conference news from around the Big Ten. Penn State, 1st and 10, 36-yard line of the Nittany Lions. McQueary to the flat. Stevenson, the tight end. He stayed in bounds out across the 50-yard line, and he's got a first down down the sideline. Nice footwork by Stevenson, and a 15-yard gain, Jim Barber.
Beat Ohio State last week. The #1 fever didn't exactly sweep this community simply because the Lions have been #1 before. But as you might imagine, the run for the Roses was very much in mind. Still, Joe Paterno said against Minnesota, #1, we'll find out what kind of football team we have, and #2, if we lose, we're out of it. And I think he refers to the national championship.
Some premature movement on the offensive side of the football, and everybody throws a flag. This will back up the Nittany Lions a bit.
Dead ball. Ball start on the offense. 5 yards. First down.
So many times an unforced error like that can squelch a drive. We saw Minnesota after having some success earlier, and a legal motion penalty causes their drive to stall. This time Penn State moving the ball well. Penalty now puts them in 1st and 15.
Enos. First down and more, and he was a shoestring tackle away from perhaps breaking it all the way. Levander Williams brought him down, and the Nittany Lions moved the chains on the broad shoulders of their All-America running back. 18-yard gain.
Finally a big hole for Enos to run through, and once you get a chance, once he gets an opportunity to get that momentum going, he's going to break through some arm tackles, and a huge play for Penn State. See if that picks up their offense.
This is what he did last week in the 4th quarter. McQueary play action. Going to the end zone for Shafi Fields, and the pass well overthrown. Good coverage provided downfield by Craig Scruggs.
Well, we talked earlier about McQueary's ability to throw the long ball. That time, Scruggs and the Minnesota defense not fooled. McQueary had plenty of time to look the field over. Nobody really open, decided to take the chance and go downfield.
So you get a look at the situation. Just over 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Minnesota leading Penn State 15-3. Last week, the big fourth quarter for Enos, and he carried this team to victory. Will he do it again? 47 yards of this drive here in the fourth quarter for Penn State for Enos. Oh, nice throw, McQueary. Shelby Fields had the first down, or he was stung back just short of the 25-yard line. It is a first down. A gain of about 11 yards. Tyrone Carter made the hit.
You can see some confidence in this Penn State offense, which has not been evident today, as Mike McQueary is throwing the ball crisply and sharply as receivers are making some plays, and Enos is making some plays. And this team knows it's got the capability of doing things in a hurry. There's not a real sense of urgency with over 9 minutes to go, but they need to be productive.
Cleary, the fullback, bangs away at the Minnesota defense down to the 21-yard line. Dimmy made the stop, gain of about 4, maybe 5 yards, depending on the spot of the ball. Under 10 minutes to go in the football game. Penn State trailing by 12. They are the #1 ranked team in the nation, but give these Golden Gophers all the credit in the world. They came here and they have played tough and well. Second down, play action, McQueary. Going to the end zone for Fields, and it's broken up beautifully. Textbook play by Craig Scruggs on the post pattern at Shawnee Field.
Penn State has been picking on Scruggs all day, and though they've hit a couple of deep posts earlier in the game, Scruggs has really played well in this second half. A tough throw for McQueary. Little play action fake here. He's going to go to his right. He sees Fields going all the way across the field, and awfully tough to try and ask McQueary to throw that ball across his body. And watch Scruggs come up, put his left hand up here, knock that ball out. What a nice defensive play.
3rd and 6, Penn State. McQueary. His receiver well covered down the sidelines. And we finally have a flag thrown instead of Curtis Enos. Tyrone Carter shadowed him all the way down the sideline. The officials conferring. I think it may be for Enos going out of bounds.
Well, the ball
back in.
The ball was certainly thrown out of bounds, and it was not in a position that could have been caught. And they're discussing it, which is good because they're making sure it's the right decision. Yes. Instead of one referee or one official coming in and making a call with possibly not having all the information, they're putting a lot of their thoughts together, making sure it's the right call.
And the head official, the referee, Jim Kemmerling. Let's see what his call is.
Pass interference on the defense.
What a key play on a 3rd down. It would have been 4th down. You see him coming out to the right side of your screen. There's the throw. And Enos clearly had been out of bounds. Boy, I take another look at it.
On the defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Tyrone Carter did bump into the receiver and kind of rode him down those sidelines.
Enos had gone out of bounds, though, prior to that contact. So that's a tough call.
Now Penn State to the doorstep. Their deepest penetration of the afternoon. First down and goal to go. The 6-yard line of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. All day, everything the Nittany Lions have tried has come with only a grudging success, and not a lot of that. 2 chances today in the red zone. This is their 3rd. Juravicius, the man in motion. Enos gets the call. Touchdown! Six-yard touchdown run. Curtis Enos, his 10th touchdown of the season.
It's hard to contain a back like this the entire day. He does a nice job. Nothing in the middle. There's no hole. He's got excellent vision, sees the opening to the outside, then enough acceleration to escape that arm tackle.
A run to daylight and the end zone by Curtis Enos has drawn the Nittany Lions closer. Travis Forney for the point after. And the Minnesota lead has been sliced to 5. Golden Gophers 15, Nittany Lions 10. Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber. Beaver Stadium better than 93,000 on hand. The 78th homecoming for Penn State. Curtis Enos with runs of 9, 18, and a 6-yard touchdown gallop. That brought the Penn State Nittany Lions back into the game. 2-2 Atwell from his one. Hammered down hard. Ball may have popped loose. Atwell covered up short of the 20-yard line. The scoring drive, 9 plays, 75 yards. 33 of those yards by Curtis Enos.
But again, relatively quickly, as only 2 minutes and 28 seconds were taken off the clock.
And the Lions are back in it, trailing by 5. The Gophers back on the field offensively. And right now they need a momentum-stemming drive. Whether they score or not, they need to move the football and keep that Nittany Lion offense off the field. Listen to the crowd. Tough for Sauter to change the play at the line. Blitz. Intercepted by David Macklin. Penn State football to the 34. Pass intended for Ryan Hubbard. A complete momentum switch here in the fourth quarter.
Ryan Hubbard only having 1 catch this year, maybe not running the best pattern as Sauter throws the ball into tight coverage that time. Macklin comes up with the play. Sauter laying the ball out there. We saw it work earlier with Atwell. This ball, when it's that well covered, you just got to throw it right out of bounds. You throw it over their head, it didn't work, come back on second down. Don't try and force it in there.
First turnover of the day for Minnesota. Penn State starts just inside the Gopher 34, trailing by 5. They run a reverse to Shockey Fields. Antoine Richard forces it wide. Fields cuts it back. Jimmy Wyrick makes the stop. Near the 31-yard line, it is a gain of 3. Boy, that was well set up. Minnesota played it very effectively defensively.
Minnesota did a nice job of forcing Fields to go deeper than he wanted. Right here, he looks like he's going to have some room, but he's got to go back another 5 or 6 yards, and that allows the Minnesota defense to gain some yardage with their pursuit.
2nd and 7. Juravicius in motion. Enos hit in the backfield, able to play off one would-be tackle attempt, and down he goes inside the 30 at the 29, gain of a couple of yards. Parks Williams arrived from the linebacking corps.
Your Minnesota's defense, Wayne, you've got to accept the fact that you have played well all day. You've got to just continue with the intensity that you have played with for this entire game. If they get a first down, don't give up. They got to keep them out of the end zone and at least force them to try a field goal.
Top-ranked Penn State down by 5. Coming up on 7.5 minutes to go in the game. 3rd and 4. McQueary. Got a first down and more. First and goal inside the 10. 21-yard scamper by McQueary. Hoffman made the stop. When you're 6'4" and 222 and you've got some mobility about you, this is what can happen in a key situation.
He does a nice job not forcing anything. It's open. He runs right into it, puts a nice move on, and then watch him show a little excitement as he gets up, waving his arms, full of enthusiasm, knowing that he has stepped up his play a little bit here in the fourth quarter. Needs to get his team into the end zone right here.
Penn State needs a timeout here. And the Nittany Lions stop the clock with 7:01 to go in the game. Break of the action. Minnesota leading, but Penn State poised to perhaps take the lead. Better than 93,000 on hand at Beaver Stadium. And they have seen quite a ball game. Defensive coordinator David Gibbs has some pressure on him right now. 29-year-old defensive coordinator. His team came prepared, and they played well. Franny Gander on the staff here at Penn State for 27 years.
they've been in this situation so many times. Franny Ganner is not going to panic. He's going to make the right call.
Juravicius in motion. Ganner, the offensive coordinator. McQueary at the controls at quarterback. Cleary gets the call. The fullback had a nice seam off the right side of the line, but the Gophers close quickly and a gain of a couple of yards. Mark Williams, the middle linebacker, made the stop. Here is David Gibbs. His dad was a coach as well.
But as young as he is, you grow up in a hurry when you're in games like this and you're in situations like this. And he's done a wonderful job making the right calls today. And his players have responded and have played very, very well for him. They need another stand with 6.5 minutes to go.
After all, this is a team that gave up 50-some points a week ago. They've really rebounded and played well. Second down and goal to go Penn State near the 6. Scioli in motion. Enos hit once in the backfield, and boy, that was Park Williams who got over to make the first hit in the backfield, and then he was covered up by Tyrone Carter.
Take a look. This is what Minnesota's defense has done so well today. It may not be one guy that has made the tackle, but it's one guy that may miss, but it causes Enos to slow down. Right there, he doesn't make the tackle, but he doesn't get his momentum. And now you see 3 or 4 Gophers over there to mop up and make the tackle.
Third and goal to go at the 6-yard line of Minnesota. Under 7 minutes to go in the game. Penn State down by 5. Blitz is on. They picked it up well. McQueary lots of time, and the pass wide of the mark. Shelby Fields, the intended receiver.
McQueary had plenty of time, but good coverage by Craig Scruggs and the rest of that secondary. Take a look at McQuery. Looking to his right. Nobody there. Scans the field and then throws a pretty decent pass. Again, just out of the reach of Shelby Fields, but yet not where any Gopher could get his hands on it.
Travis Forney is on for a field goal attempt. And timeout taken again by Penn State. Now that's their second timeout of the second half. Oh, make it their final timeout. That could come back to haunt them as we get into the final 5 minutes of this football game. Penn State would like to kick the field goal to close within 2. And figuring that with over 5.5 minutes to go in the game, they're going to get the ball back again. First Plus Financial game summary. Penn State 4 turnovers. Well, we mentioned the Gophers would need some help, and they got some help from the host. Thomas Hamner has run hard all day. 146 yards on 28 rushing attempts. Mike McQueary has struggled in the passing department for Penn State, although he's played better in the fourth quarter. And don't forget, coming up next week, the Big Ten Roadshow travels to Iowa City, Iowa. The Indiana Hoosiers, led by quarterback Jay Rogers, travel to Iowa City to take on Heisman Trophy candidate Paydian Banks and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Check your local listings for the game time in your area.
Well, the timeout Penn State gave them, the timeout Penn State took, gave them a chance to talk whether they wanted to go for it, and they've decided to put their offense back on the field and go for it here on 4th down.
Well, here we go. And now David Gibbs wants a timeout for Minnesota. Didn't get it called, or did he? Timeout was called, yes, before the snap, and so Minnesota will get an opportunity to discuss what they want to do defensively.
Good call by David Gibbs. Once he lets Penn State come up to the line of scrimmage, he sees what formation they're in, what personnel's on the field. He calls timeout. Now he can make an adjustment.
Well, it's an interesting call here, isn't it?
It is. It's a very interesting call. I think it shows a little respect for the Gopher defense. Even though Penn State has moved the ball here in the fourth quarter, they feel this may be their best opportunity to get the ball in the end zone. It's 4th and 6. So they're thinking that it's not as easy moving the ball. They get the touchdown here. They'd rather put their defense on the field with the lead rather than count on their offense having to move the ball into field goal range another time.
Outback Steakhouse, outstanding back, Thomas Hamner. 28 rushing attempts, 146 yards, the most by a back against Penn State this season. He has been outstanding.
And he's had a lot of blocking up front, but he has run hard all game.
Outback Steakhouse, outstanding back, Thomas Hamner of the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Just a sophomore.
While we have a moment, I'd like to congratulate Media Relations Director Mark Ryan of Minnesota and his wife, Diane, who's a Penn State grad, on the birth of their son, Sean William Ryan, who was born Friday, October 10th. Congratulations to them. Joe Paterno on the Penn State sideline. And the The youngster, so to speak, the defensive coordinator of the Golden Gophers, David Gibbs, 29 years old. Well, Penn State's going for the touchdown. This would give them the lead. Fourth down, goal to go, the 6. McQueary looking to the end zone, and he's got Scioli, and it is incomplete. No flag. Scioli, the intended receiver, and it is Minnesota football with 5:33 to go in the game.
Not only a surprise call to go for it, but when you throw the ball to Brad Scioli with all the weapons on your offense, to throw the ball to Scioli, it starts with protection. Take a look at the pressure coming up the middle, so McQueary has to throw the ball a little early and just out of the reach of his backup tight end, Brad Scioli. Take a look again. Puts a lot of touch underneath it. Scioli just can't get to it. Oh, he makes a great effort.
It is first down for Minnesota. Golden Gophers lead by 5. Hamner runs into Fornadel, moves the pile forward out across the 10 to the 11-yard line. Back to Studio 66. Mike Gleason, how's that? You're looking at your Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Week in Tim Dwight. I would think. Second down and 5 from the 11 for Minnesota. Golden Gophers trying to protect a 5-point lead, and Hamner, not much there. Maybe 2 yards out to the 13-yard line. Nelson closed quickly. Take a look at David Gibson on that fourth down stop a moment ago. And incomplete emotions. How about the celebration once he puts down the headset?
And he knows this game isn't over yet, though. He had a perfect defense called, and his players executed, but he knows his defense is going to have to do it again if they're going to win this game.
Penn State will get it back, and that, I'm sure, was Joe Paterno's thought. If you're going to look at this, Jerry Sandusky on the sidelines. He's the defensive coordinator of Penn State. Minnesota 4-16 on third down, facing a third down and 3. Timeout called by Corey Sauter, running out of time on the play clock. I'm sure that Joe Paterno's thinking, and Franny Gander, and the brain trust of Penn State was that, hey, listen, we know we're going to get the ball back again. Let's try to score here and take the lead. But if not, we're going to get a shot at it, and we're going to have to try to score another touchdown anyway.
And what they're counting on is their defense keeping Minnesota backed up to their goal line and forcing them to punt so they get decent field position. Now what they've done, though, by not making it, they know they're going to get the ball back on offense. But had they kicked the field goal, they'd only need a field goal to win. Exactly. Now they have to get a touchdown, of which they've only scored 1 with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Both teams, as you saw, are out of timeout. And you're right, Randy, it's a bit of a gamble by Coach Paterno. The strategy by going for the touchdown. Las Vegas play of the game, and take a look at it moments ago. This is fourth down, goal to go from the 6. McQueary straight back and gets some pressure from the right side of your screen. Lets the pass go for Scioli, and just beyond his reach, Jimmy Wyrick gets credit for the coverage on that play.
You can't draw up defensive pass coverage any better than what Minnesota did on that play.
McQueary tried to put it the only place where it could be caught by the offensive man, but not intercepted by the defender. The pass led the offensive player just a bit too much. Now it is third down again for Minnesota. 3rd and 3. The pitch, Hamner fumbles it. Penn State football! Chris Snyder, the recovery. Second turnover by Minnesota in this fourth quarter.
For a team that has played so well offensively the entire game, you're seeing them self-destruct. Here's just a good pitch that Hamner doesn't watch into his hands. He's looking at the hole, trying to pick up the first down, and he just, as a receiver, you just don't watch the ball into your hands.
Second consecutive drive for Glenn Mason's team that has ended in a turnover here in the fourth quarter. Look at Penn State. They've got 4 turnovers, but turnovers often determine a game depending on when they occur.
And where they occur. This is the second one for Minnesota deep in their own end of the field.
Juravicius, the lone wide receiver. Enos going around the end. Smelling end zone. Touchdown!
mean, this is the reflection of where this Penn State program is. Right after a key turnover like that, they take the ball, they put it right into the end zone. They give it to their best back, they run their best play, he breaks the tackle, and they get a touchdown out of it.
10-yard touchdown run. Curtis Enos, his second touchdown of the afternoon. Second of the fourth quarter. They're going for two. McQueary spreads them out. Enos in motion. McQueary rolling to the wide side. McQueary gets it away, and it's dropped incomplete by Shelby Fields. So the Nittany Lions lead 16-15. What a finish this has been.
And what a finish it's going to be. You take a look, McQueary does a nice job of rolling out, picks up a nice block by Cleary right there. He's got plenty of time, makes a nice move right here to buy extra time, and he throws a nice pass to Fields. Ball hits him right there. That's a catchable ball. When you need those points, you got to come up with that play. You got to make that catch, give your team the 3-point lead. Great job by McQueary, who, as we said earlier, we were going to find out what kind of leader McQueary is here in this fourth quarter, and he has responded very well and upped his level of play when the Nittany Lions really needed it.
The two fourth quarter points, or two fourth quarter turnovers by Minnesota have resulted in 6 Penn State points. The 4 turnovers by Penn State have resulted in only 9 Minnesota points this ball game. Under 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Minnesota has led virtually throughout this afternoon. And now they trail by 1. Penn State, and he's set to boot it away, Travis Forney. Good leverage and depth into this kick. And Tyrone Carter told to stay there with it. Obliges Tutu Atwell's request, and Minnesota will take possession at the 20-yard line. Take a look at what I just mentioned, the turnovers and the points off turnovers. That's not a lot of points off 6 turnovers.
Not at all, and it shows you the way the defenses have been playing. Now, if you're Minnesota's offense, you've got a veteran quarterback. They've got a wide-open offense. They have moved the ball today. There's plenty of time, almost 4 minutes to go, though they have no timeout. Clock always stops with a first down in college ball, so Minnesota needs to get back into the rhythm of mixing the pass in with the run, which led them to the earlier success.
Hamner gets the first call. Gain of about 4, maybe 5, and Jim Nelson, the linebacker out of Waldorf, Maryland, makes the stop.
You're Corey Sauter. You've got to forget about the first 56 minutes of this game. You are in a position to upset the #1 team in the country. All you need to do is get your field goal kicker, who's already kicked 5 field goals today, in position. You've got wonderful talent around you. Stay calm, keep the people around you calm, and just execute.
Very little wind in the stadium. Adam Bailey, the field goal kicker, has kicked a 50-yarder here today. Second down and 6. Blitz is on. Sauter throws it away. The middle linebacker, Maurice Daniels, right up the middle on the blitz. They also brought Aaron Collins from the far side, the outside linebacker. Collins was picked up. Daniels was not, and Sauter threw it away.
Sauter did a nice job throwing that away. Penn State is not a pressure defense. Watch from the right side of your screen. Up top, you're going to see number 6 come in. Hamner does a nice job of picking him up, but there's nobody left to pick up Daniels. That causes Sauter to throw the ball out of bounds.
It is 3rd down and 6 for Minnesota. Nelson in motion. Sauter, down he goes. What a rush by Courtney Brown, the defensive end from Alvin, South Carolina. He threw his blocker back into the quarterback.
Brown came into this game with only 1 sack. It looked like they had him pretty well blocked as Hamner, number 12, helps the left tackle, but yet Brown just bull rushes both of them. Take a look at it again as Sauter tries to step up. Brown just bull rushes both of them backwards, and Albright and Hamner couldn't hold off Brown.
4th down and 16. Minnesota going for it. Sauter to keep it alive. Atwell can't hang on, and the Nittany Lions get it back. 2:18 for the game. And Penn State gets an opportunity to put it away.
Well, you tried to get the ball to your best offensive player. Sauter has time to throw this ball. Throws a pretty good pass. Atwell gives it a good effort. Just doesn't come down. It would have been short of the first down had he done that. But, Wayne, that's a little different in these two programs right now. In the fourth quarter, when Penn State needed to make a play, they made a couple of them. And when Minnesota needed to continue doing what they were doing, they self-destructed. And that's why Penn State's got the lead with the ball after being down 15-3.
Both sides are out of timeouts. Penn State leads by 1. Juravicius, the lone wide receiver. He's at the bottom of your screen. Double tights in the ball game. Double tight end. Enos trying to get to the outside. Looked to cut it back, and Carter brought him down. But it was Rufus Smith who was at the root of the problem as far as Penn State was concerned. He is the linebacker who came up on the outside and forced that play wide.
And Enos doing a nice job of staying in bounds. Instead of going out of bounds, gets down in bounds, keeps the clock running.
Penn State has averaged, starting their drives in the fourth quarter, at the Minnesota 40-yard line. This one began right about at the 14. 2nd down and 8 yards to go. Under 2 minutes to go in the game. Enos again, cutting it back. Enos spinning to the 5, very close to the first down. It'll be 3rd down for Penn State. Tyrone Carter prevented the first down reach. Or did he? The officials have called for a timeout. They're going to measure this. 1:22 to go.
Penn State's offensive line, knowing that they had to put something together in the fourth quarter, gave McQueary the time he needed, gave Enos the holes he needed in order to put their team ahead. Need to finish off this last minute 22 to escape a monumental upset.
So it is a first down as they give him credit. Coach Gibbs, David Gibbs, on the sidelines for the Golden Gophers. Excellent game plan today. His kids have played well. Joe Paterno and his bunch, #1 ranked team in the nation, have had their hands full. They are off next week and then start really, quote-unquote, the lion's share of their schedule. Some big games still remaining this season for Penn State.
Well, sometimes, Wayne, you've got to get there a couple of times before you get over the hump. And Glenn Mason, in his first year, has got his Gophers in this game right there. Couldn't quite finish it off, but made it close. He's got this program heading in the right direction.
First down will allow the Nittany Lions to just basically kill the clock. Run a couple of snaps. And that's going to about do it.
Good Mason there knows he came oh so close. He told us he could guarantee us only his players would play hard every play. And they played hard from the start to the finish.
Final seconds ticking away. And for the Badgers, who played so hard and at times so well here today, just not enough in the fourth quarter to hold off Penn State. Painful seconds ticking off that clock as far as they're concerned. And Penn State, one more snap will do it for the Nittany Lions. Penn State, #1 ranked team in the nation, undefeated. Dodge player of the game, Curtis Enos. A big fourth quarter once again. He picked up the Nittany Lions and carried them to victory with 2 crucial touchdowns in the fourth quarter and 112 yards rushing. Penn State remains undefeated as they have defeated the Minnesota Golden Gophers 16-15 here, homecoming in Happy Valley. Penn State with the win, 6-0, 3-0 in Big Ten play. Minnesota falls to 2-5, 0-3 in conference play. So on a beautiful sun-splashed afternoon, the 78th homecoming here in Happy Valley. The Penn State Nittany Lions had to work for it. Nothing came easy for them, and they were able to come from behind and overcome the upstart, undermanned Minnesota Golden Gophers, who gave a wonderful account of themselves here on this beautiful day. Final score, Penn State 16, Minnesota 15 for Jim Barber and Randy Wright. Wayne Larrabee saying so long, Happy Valley. Join us next week. Don't forget, we will be coming to you from Iowa City, Iowa.